You briefed the press, did you not, when you were there?
Well, I had several jobs. One of my jobs was that of analyst. I also was an interrogator and indeed briefed the press when we, the CIA, wanted to uh, circulate disinformation on a particular issue. Disinformation is not necessarily a lie. It may be a half truth. And we would pick out a journalist. I would go do the briefing and hope that he would put the information in print. For instance, if we wanted to get across to the American public that the North Vietnamese were building up their force structure in South Vietnam, I would go to a journalist and advise him that in the past 6 months, X number of North Vietnamese forces had come down the Ho Chi Minh Trail system through southern Laos. Now, there is no way a journalist can check that information. So either he goes with the information or he doesn't, and ordinarily or usually, the journalist would go with it because it looked like some kind of exclusive. And I would say our percentage planning that kind of data was 70 to 80%. The correspondents we targeted were those who had terrific influence, the most respected journalists in Saigon, like Robert Chaplin of the New Yorker magazine, Kai's Beach of the Los Angeles Times from time to time, and also he worked for the Chicago Daily News. Bud Merrick of U.S. News and World Report, Malcolm Brown of the New York Times, and even Maynard Parker of Newsweek magazine. We would go after these gentlemen. I would be directed to cultivate them, to spend time with them at the Caravel Hotel or the Continental Hotel, to socialize with them, and slowly but surely to try to gain their confidence by dolloping out valid information which was true. And then I would drop into a conversation the data that we wanted to get across, which might not be true. One piece of data, for instance, that we managed to plan in the New Yorker magazine had to do with a supposed North Vietnamese effort in 1973 to develop airfields along the border of South Vietnam. The reason we wanted to plant this information was that we were trying to persuade the U.S. Congress that Saigon should continue to get a great deal of aid, and that the North Vietnamese were the chief violators of the ceasefire accord. That was printed in the New Yorker magazine under the byline of Robert Chaplin, as indeed was a great deal of such information which we tried to circulate. If I planted a piece of information with a reporter, I would ordinarily then try to create an environment in which he could not check the information. I would go to the British ambassador and brief him on the disinformation I had just given the reporter. So when the reporter wanted to cross-check what I'd told him with, say, the British ambassador, New Zealand ambassador, or what have you, he would get false confirmation, the same message coming back at him. He'd say, aha, I've got proof that Frank Snepp told me the truth. When in fact,
welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', my friends, my family? We are back for another week on RBN. Welcome to the Nick and CJ Show. That video clip, that is exactly why I tell you guys we are the most propagandized country in the world, and it's not even close. You want to know why? Because when you go to China, when you talk to Chinese citizens, they know they are getting state media. They know what to expect. Mm-hmm. So I talk to our friends in China, talk to Korean, talk to many people. When Chinese citizens engage with the news, they engage with the news knowing that this is the message and the news that is coming from the state, which makes them more informed. Meanwhile, in the United States, people watch actors like Anderson Cooper. They watch Rachel Maddow, Sean Hannity, and these clowns, and they think they are getting actual news. They read the New York Times and Washington Post and think they are getting non-biased, non-CIA news. That video was released in 1983, that interview. 1983, 8 years before I was born. Now, and people look at RBN, CJ. They look at us like we're crazy. They look at me like I'm crazy because I am a citizen journalist, and our allies, we are citizen journalists that look at our news critically. Like when they tell us bullshit about the Paul Pelosi story, we're not going to report the bullshit they say, like some uncritical independent media outlets that we covered on here. When they tell us about details about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, we are not going to repeat it uncritically, like Kyle Kulinski, TYT, and a lot of the other quote-unquote independent leftist media spaces. You have to be a goddamn fool to take anything the West media says at face value. Do you guys want to know how I address foreign affairs? When people say, Nick, you good at foreign policy, how you know about what's going on in Haiti? How you know what's going on in Venezuela? How you know what's going on in Iraq? How you know what's going on in China? DPRK, I'm going to cover that story here soon. What's going on in Israel? What's going on in Palestine? There's a good rule. Whatever the West is saying is bullshit. If you start there, you eventually find your way to some truth. And I promise you that's a good technique. Go ahead, CJ. You guys know I like
in the same way that in the same way that you suggest that ask the question, who does this serve? The worker or the ruling class? It's just sort of blanket sort of questions to ask or to apply that you can literally be like, okay, I can at least be in the same hemisphere of the right side by not being on the same side as the United States.
I remember, like, and this is where you guys do this with any country because the United States have destabilized the entire world. And, like, for example, when I was looking to Colombia, I was like, what? The first thing I thought of when I was wanting to learn more about Colombia, what did the United States do to Colombia? What is our media saying about Colombia, and why are they lying? Like, that's a good base to start on, not only just foreign policy, but any general topic. Whatever you see CNN and their establishment anchors are saying, I'm not saying they 100% wrong all the time, but if you get something from U.S. Western media, I am assuming they are lying unless they have concrete physical proof without shadow of a doubt. When they showed me that, I'm like, okay, I guess you guys got the receipt there.
And when have they done that? When have they done? That's what you just said. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, CJ, like you said, I'll pass it to you. But I promise you guys, it does not happen often. And that was my take with Russiagate. I didn't have a platform back then, but we all knew Russiagate was bullshit because I was like, what the state is saying, how that doesn't make sense. You start from there, work backward from your conclusion, and you'll reach the truth. And that clip we played in the beginning is why. There is 20,000 CIA officers, employees. You guys know that? And that is just on the books. 20,000 CIA officers on the book. Imagine how many they don't have on the books. And people think that these 20,000 CIA officers just sit around and do nothing. Oh, they just sit around just fucking around. No, they out there destabilizing shit and feeding the American people and the global population disinformation. That is what they do. Why do you think we call for the abolishment of the CIA and FBI? Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, the progressives, the NATO left, they love them now. Our number one enemy, the CIA, they propagandize us. That video he's discussing techniques that they use to propagandize us, not Russians. Not Chinese people. You think the CIA tactics is used against? No, they are propagandizing us.
Think about it, Nick. Think about what the video says. It's telling you that the ruling class sees the truth as your liberation. They understand the workers' liberation will be through truth. So what do? They insert their own truth into media that they purchased. It's brilliant as a strategy, but not enough people understand this. And I want to finish the video. I just stopped it at the 3-minute point just so we can introduce. Let's the show, and then we're gonna finish. We're gonna finish the video.
Okay, you already know I'm down to bash the CI anytime. We can start with bash. So by the way, this video, and let's finish it. And this interview is in 1983. So do you guys think they don't have a complex and coordinated social media plan similar to what he's describing here? What? I take nothing coming from blue check Twitter seriously. and the bots that they prop up. I assume all that shit is CIA. And you guys can call me paranoid if I want. People call me paranoid on Twitter. Why should I give you benefit that I know what you guys do? Studies show the entirety of Twitter, 75% of Twitter is fake. They have, if this, and we're gonna continue the video. They talk about what they did in 1980. Imagine how they adjusted with the times. I see it all the time. The fact
it's like the Truman Show. We're living the Truman Show, but all of us are living it. All of us are living this. This is the Truman Show. Go ahead.
Why do you think there's a NATO left? Like the fact that there's actually people who are progressives, they are cheering, arming Nazis. That can only happen if they have a plan like this that's on social media. I see blue check liberals, the Bernie Sanders foreign policy positions are completely incoherent to what it means to be anti-imperialist and leftist. There is no way this is organic. The Bernie movement, the Bernie campaign, and we're going to explain this here very soon. Soros, the billionaire class, co-opted these people. So they invited the CIA messaging in. And what you hear from this guy, I'll guarantee you, is all over Twitter, all over Facebook. And there's been reports of social media tech giants working in coordination with the government. They're taking orders from the CIA and from the FBI. And once again, they don't even hide this stuff. But we can get back to the VOCJ if you want to pull it back up.
Yeah, I do. Let's get back to the video, and I promise you we're gonna do a chat before we get to the topics. But this is just how we gonna starting shows, rolling right into something. And let's play this. This is the only way to fit all the
I do this because we don't have enough time, bro.
Yeah, like exactly.
We would do a 3-hour show. I'm like, how do we do a 3-hour show? I still didn't get through my whole outline. But anyway, let's go through that.
Yeah, so what is this? Oh, I can close this. Here. Oh, did I share it again? Let me. I did. Let me play it. I did rewind it so we can hear a little bit more.
All right, so I'm adding this. Bill Clinton. I just saw this. Bill Clinton was just confronted about his alleged connections to child sex trafficker
in public.
Yeah, they got like 4,000 likes in like 1 hour. Like this is blowing up already.
Okay, so let's play this and then we're gonna play that. Yeah, let's play this real quick and then we'll get to that.
That's a live reaction segment. I literally just saw that.
This is freaking ridiculous. This is crazy. This is crazy. Shit. A crazy Monday. All right, so
let's finish segment and we go to the bill.
Yeah, let's play this.
That we wanted to get across, which might not be true. One piece of data, for instance, that we managed to plan in the New Yorker magazine had to do with a supposed North Vietnamese effort in 1973 to develop airfields along the border of South Vietnam. The reason we wanted to plant this information was that we were trying to persuade the U.S. Congress that Saigon should continue to get a great deal of aid. And that the North Vietnamese were the chief violators of the ceasefire accord. That was printed in the New Yorker magazine under the byline of Robert Chaplin, as indeed was a great deal of such information which we tried to circulate. If I planted a piece of information with a reporter, I would ordinarily then try to create an environment in which he could not check the information. I would go to the British ambassador and brief him on the disinformation I had just given the reporter. So when the reporter wanted to cross-check what I told him with, say, the British ambassador, New Zealand ambassador, or what have you, he would get false confirmation, the same message coming back at him, and he'd say, aha, I've got proof that Frank Snepp told me the truth.
I must pause it here. I'm sorry, Nick. I got you.
That's perfect.
You know how reporters say multiple sources. Yes. I got 5 sources. I got 5 sources. Really? Do you? Or did those 4 people you got that you calling sources got the same information from the same person? He's just telling you how it can be done. So he told one person, he told a reporter, and then the reporter says, oh, I'm going to go check this with another source to confirm that this is not a made-up story. And he goes to the person that he already talked to. Go ahead.
Meanwhile, the Washington establishment have trained and brainwashed people into thinking that you are some sort of conspiracy theorist if you question any news story that comes from them. Like if they repeat the narrative about anything on Ukraine, Oh, this is an unprovoked war. Oh no, I'm skeptical of that. Oh, what? Look at this conspiracy theorist. Anything about the COVID narrative? If he questioned the COVID narrative, oh, you must be a conspiracy theorist. Anything regarding the Paul Pelosi story. Anyone who questioned the Paul Pelosi story, you're not believing our great, honest reporters who have multiple sources. Are you serious? This video is great because it explains why I am skeptical, and that is our duty as citizens. We are so propagandized, we forgot that. We are supposed to be skeptical of information that comes from the ruling class. Put the onus on them to prove to us because they are in a position of power. Somehow it flipped. Now it's on the onus of the people holding the power to prove they're corrupt. Are you serious?
Oh God!
Damn, the ruling class got us.
They got this shit set up so nicely.
Well trained. Go ahead. Let's continue.
Yes. Where is it? Right here.
When in fact, what he'd gotten was simply an echo of what I'd given him in the first place via the British ambassador or other of our friendly diplomatic contacts. I am, as an ex-CIA agent, opposed to the disinformation activities in which I was involved. I admit that I was involved, and I think it served no useful purpose. Propagandizing the American public or Congress is not the CIA's job.
Now, you hear he said propaganding the American public or Congress. So some of these things that the CIA is above their pedigree, where they're believing the news reports that are coming out. This shit is so intricately and methodically set up, Nick, but it's still collapsing. The empire is still collapsing.
And that's why what we just saw, that's exactly why I got into independent news and why I see the value of independent news. And why I think some of the dumbest people on the left are the people who like, oh, that just y'all just podcasting or just YouTube. Like, you guys don't see the value of having an anti-establishment worker media to counteract the infiltrated intelligence agency media that we are surrounded by. That's probably one of the most important things we can do, have a counter narrative. That's why Lenin used to literally write papers. He used to send articles. He used to write articles and send them around. Not many good writers to do the same. It's important for us to have a counter narrative. That's why we got into the game. That's why we need RBN. That's why we need people questioning the narrative, and why on RBN we say if you're not doing that, you're not really independent. Like, what's the point of calling yourself independent media if you turn on the Ukraine coverage? It's quite literally the same as Morning Joe.
Yeah. Or literally all your sources are corporate. Washington Post, New York Times. Every story you're covering is using a corporate, like, and some of the worst. Bloomberg, that's all the sources they're using. But your independent media, it is a complete. Now, you said that video was 1983, and you said you were born eight years after that. 91, and you're in your 30s. AOC is also in her 30s, and to your point earlier, you were saying that's 1983. Think of how more sophisticated they have gotten. Like,
you think they don't
CIA Democrats, like actual politicians, Maybe some of the CIA Democrats, maybe some of the squad. I don't know. And I'm not trying to, put out some sort of conspiracy. I'm just simply saying, are they really just afraid to do anything? Are they really just losing all these battles? Or is it part of the plan of the ruling class? And that's the question that always rings true to me with this type of stuff.
It's just like I got a lot of friends who watch like pro wrestling, so I love using their analogies. And I say that politics is just like WWE pro wrestling. We had the face and you have the heel. Everyone would like to be the face, but the professional wrestlers, they don't really mind if they're the heel sometimes. They don't mind if they had a job a few times, as long as they get fucking paid. As long as they're prominent wrestlers, as long as they get in work, they don't care if they're the good guy or bad guy. Shit. right? And that's how politics
And
are.
when you say the face or the heel, explain that to people. What do you mean by
once
face
again,
or
my
the
brother
heel?
is more the wrestling guy than I am.
Or
I just
wrestling.
know because I'm around him. So like the face is the good guy, the heel is the bad guy. Marty Taylor Green is the heel. AOC is supposed to be the face, right? Ted Cruz is the heel. I guess I'll go in there. Kamala Harris is the face, right? Like you had the good side.
It's hard for you to find a face. It's hard for you to find a face. You're like, wait.
But it's flipped based on your
Yeah.
perspective. So if you're a Republican, you watch Fox News, it's the exact
All
opposite. Trump is the Stone Cold Steve Austin face, the badass that tell it how it is.
Yeah.
And then the Democrats is the Vince McMahon blue team, the establishment man hill that everyone hates. So it's based on your perspective, but that's the common thing. So when it comes to AOC and Bernie, yeah, they would love to be a face, but if the establishment tells you no, you gotta be a heel, they be like, oh damn, I guess I'm being a heel. They will do it just like that. You see how AOC
it's the same pay though. It's the same pay.
Yeah, because like if you watch wrestling, like because I watched in the Attitude Era, right? So you gotta know the Rock as the Hollywood superstar. But the Rock was like when I was like 10, he was like my favorite wrestler, Stone Cold back in the day. Like sometimes the Rock will be a good guy, but then sometimes he'll be a bad guy. Sometimes Stone Cold will be the good guy, then sometimes Stone Cold will be the bad guy. That's literally the rotating villain in politics. That's why I love that analogy. That our politics is quite literally just like professional wrestling.
It's the same payday. This is the reason why Joe Manchin doesn't care if he's trending on Twitter. He's like, nigga, what? I got paid. What you talking about? And my wife got a promotion.
Me and my family is set. My family is set, son. Why y'all bitching? You gotta give a fuck about you peasants, you bitching. I don't give a fuck.
Y'all got a meme about him and he got millions. Like what? He got millions in the bank and you doing memes and you think you winning.
I'm gonna show you guys this. This is related to the statement we just did. Guess who did this? Barack Obama. Barack Obama was the president that legalized the use of propaganda on the U.S. public. Now, I don't talk about this a lot because I think they always did this, to be honest. But it's just an extra nail that showed the authoritarian attitude of the Democratic Party. This is the National Defense Authoritarian Authorization Act. Might as well be Authoritarian Act. Includes an amendment that would legalize the use of propaganda on the American public. And this was done under Barack Obama, under Democratic leadership here. So, just let you know. Well, yeah, obviously, if you read the article, I want to make sure you guys know Republicans for it too. That was bipartisan, so it doesn't matter.
You have to look at the Democrats and the Republicans like this. I'm gonna now follow me with this story. You have to look at them as a couple, and we're gonna do a heterosexual couple for the sake of this example, and you'll see what I mean. And you have the man and the woman, right? They're a couple. And let's say they show up to a club. They're not dressed nice. They show up to a club, right? You're gonna put that guy against the wall and pat him all kind of down. But the girl, you're just gonna look at her. Oh, you look nice today, and let her in with the gun in her purse. That's the Democrats. The Democrats is the female in this example, and the Republicans are the male. So we're all on. So this is the reason why so many things that are slipped through by the ruling class is slipped through the Democratic Party, i.e., the criminal, the 1994 crime bill, where they increase the slave population or the employee pool in their case. So I just wanted to make that analogy. They are a couple doing out for the same mission. The big buff guy you're worried about, and the woman is saying, yeah, look at him, frisk him, look at that motherfucker, look at all those muscles and those guns sticking out. Why do you got guns? Why do you know? That's what they're saying. While she has a 22 in her purse, while she has a 22 in her her stocking. That's that, and then sneak it in. The Democrats is the female in this example, and this is why you see so many things, Nick. The welfare reform, when 70+% of the recipients were children. The American population is not going to let the Republicans do that, but they'll let the Democrats do that because the Democrats are supposed to be the nice one. back to you. You got that Bill Clinton video you want to
Oh
go to, or you still
yeah.
got something on this one?
I literally just let's do that segment. What Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, one thing I want to mention, because we're gonna cover this later. You guys know, like, the era where like it's the Republicans, they're the big money spending party. That shit is over. The Democrats destroyed
Oh, bye.
Republicans in corporate cash. They all corporate owned, but when you look at their positions, the Democrats unapologetically the pro-war party, and now they're the largest fundraiser. Anyway, we'll get to that soon. Let me show you guys. I saw this, and this is gonna
let me do the announcements. Let me do the announcements. Like this video. 115 likes the last time I checked, and we're at 290, or basically 300 subscribers or viewers. Can we take that 115 likes to 225, like an additional 100, or about 90, but additional 100? So let's go to 225. If you're watching this on replay, or you're joining late, this live stream late, join our Substack and you will get notifications. I think I sent out a notification 30 minutes for this stream. Other streams, it can be up to 2 hours, but you'll get a notification directly in your email. You can watch the video directly from your email. This was the last count. We did a show. When was the last time we did a show? I think Saturday. Remember, we did a Saturday. Yeah, we did a Saturday show. So this was the count the last time you and I were together for our show. So let's see what the updated subscriber count is. 8. Wow, we're really gaining, Nick, here. So here is where we're at now: 24,824. Thank you for sharing our content. Thank you for all that liking. When Al keeps asking you to like, keep liking. This is how we're getting our subscribers up. People see the content. Look through the comments, Nick. People will say, "Wow, so glad I stumbled upon you guys. So glad I stumbled upon you," because otherwise they're not seeing this unless you're liking, you're sharing. So thank you for that. And now we can get to the story. Remember, we're trying to get to 225 likes. Let's go to the Bill Clinton breaking story right now.
We gained like 150 since our last live on Saturday, which is dope, and that's because of you guys. So I appreciate it. So if we actually had a media that was confrontational, they will still be asking questions about Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I love how everyone just completely forgot about that. So we had this large sex trafficking ring, which Ghislaine Maxwell, associate of the sex trafficker, was convicted. One of the largest, I don't know if it is the largest, sex trafficking operations by the ruling class were just uncovered and prosecuted. But apparently, CJ, they sex trafficked children to nobody. That's what they want us to believe. Who's the victim? We're not going to release that. Why? Bill Clinton is on the record, literally on the record in court, as being listed as one of the people that was associated with Epstein. So I just saw this. This is a live segment. I was about to pull my book notes up, pull this up, and this is the first video I found.
Wow.
So I was like, what? It was like an hour ago. This guy said, I confronted Bill Clinton at the rally he held about his connections with Jeffrey Epstein. Why does a citizen journalist have to do this? Let me do that. While I fix the audio, I'm going to ask you guys that. Every time Bill Clinton or anybody on that list is giving an interview or in public, this shit should come up at least one time minimum. There's no fancy, we having an interview with Bill Clinton. Let's talk about the football games. No. If you have Bill Clinton on your show and you're a journalist, you bring up Epstein.
Right.
And again, that goes along with everything else. So let's get to the video. This is amazing.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
Bill Clinton,
his face went absolute red.
Bill Clinton, like, oh no, one of those informed people. Oh shit, he know who I am. I thought these people didn't know who I am. This guy know. Let's watch it again. This guy, Bill Clinton, cannot believe he got this question.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
That's the look. Bill Clinton, like, oh shit, he knows.
And what he's and that also that look is like if I didn't have less than 10 years to live, I would kill you right now. That's that other look because when you walk away, it's like, man, you're so lucky I don't have that long to live because I would take your fucking ass out if I had like a future and a career or something like that. Watch when he walks away.
Yeah.
If you play it a little more,
after
you give your comment, when he walks away, he kind of gives a little sinister look at him and laugh at him again. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when he walks away here, Bill Clinton is like, man, that guy looks really suicidal, doesn't he? That guy looks like he really struggles with depression, doesn't he? It'd be a shame if he ends up killing himself one day. Let's watch the reaction. That's why that will go to his head to me.
Of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Clinton's like, look at this suicidal motherfucker. This suicidal motherfucker talking to me? And if you don't know what he says there, he said, I think the evidence is, he said either in or clear. Let me see.
I think he said clear. It sounded like he said clear to me.
Let me hear it again. Let me hide this. Yeah, either say evidence is clear, evidence is in, something like that. Yeah, the evidence suggests that you're a fucking pedophile, Bill. Jesus, that's funny. Once again, now playing segment. I literally just saw this, and this is like going everywhere on Twitter right now. One more time.
Allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
These people are not used to being called out on their crimes, but
I love it. I love it. Yeah, hang on one second. Let me get back on the screen. Can you bring it back up? I just want to see what are some of the comments.
Oh yeah, let's see what
just a couple of the comments. I want to see what the reaction is.
This is 200
any blue checks.
This was tweeted an hour ago. And he just said, I'm not suicidal, just in case.
He knows.
I promise I did not see that before. I literally just saw this. This came out 2 hours ago. It already got thousands of likes. So yeah, this is gonna go viral. Already 200, almost 250 quote tweets. So yeah, yeah, plenty of evidence, Bill. Like if I remember right, I'm not like an expert on Epstein, covered a little bit, but Epstein literally had Bill Clinton up there as like his favorite friends, and he visited Epstein like more than any other like oligarch. Like it wasn't like a one-time thing.
No, I remember. Isn't it a picture of Bill Clinton like him like rubbing the shoulders of a girl? Or no, the girl giving him a massage or something like that. I know I saw that. I don't know if it was like a Photoshop picture, but I saw a picture of that circulating in social media.
I want to see if I can go through one of my receipts. I got so many receipts saved. Epstein, former pilot, testifies against Bill Clinton. Clinton was photographed with Epstein and Maxwell at their island, and then Snow did a fact check on that, and then they said it was true. Bro, you rarely ever see that. Holy shit. Snopes did a fact check on Bill Clinton being photographed with Epstein, and they was like, yeah, that's true, bro. That's true. Shit. They got a Bill Clinton archive that categorized all the evidence of him being all his connections with Epstein. So yeah, there are plenty of evidence on this. I know Graham Elwood and Lee Camp, they really good on this. They covered the trial really well. Graham in particular is really good at breakdown. Like Graham could do a good breakdown on the connection between Clinton and Epstein. I covered it very vaguely, but there's definitely plenty of evidence that Clinton is connected to all this stuff. So, CJ, pass.
Yeah, that's why he kind of stays quiet.
26.
And
I need to look at the chats because some of you guys might know more than me. Like I'm very baseline on this information regarding Epstein. I know the basics. Like there's a photo of Clinton shaking hands. Yeah, once again, there are a lot of good people who like dedicate a lot of time on it, but it's like the evidence is very clearly there. The connection between Clinton and Epstein.
I think that's
And
why
Elon
he
Musk,
stays out of the
Elon Musk, by
public.
the way. Elon
I
Musk
think
as
that's
well.
why he. I think that's
Go
why
ahead.
he stays out of the public.
Yeah,
If
he
you
can.
notice, Bill Clinton doesn't really, because I think if he's in public a lot, eventually those questions will come up because of the people who are running, literally because of Bill, because of Joe Biden and Donald Trump who are running. Like you got two people with all these allegations running. Like the obvious question if he's out campaigning will be,
Hey,
what
to
do you
that
think
point-
of this? Go ahead.
Hey, sorry, CJ, but to that point, I saw this segment on corporate news where it was like the Democrats are bringing out the big hitters for election night. And they showed this clip of Barack Obama speaking. They even showed Hillary Clinton speaking, like, ugh. But you never ever see this segment where like, oh man, they brought Bill Clinton out. Like Bill Clinton, everyone knows he's beyond dirty, and it's super great to hear and see, because I'm a younger millennial. I still remember. I don't know if you remember the CJ. There was like a small era, like during like the first year of the Bush administration, even the second as well, where Bill Clinton was like widely regarded as a good president. Because
he
like
was.
the
I
effects
remember.
of one's policy is usually not really felt until like a few years later. So like Bill Clinton deregulating Wall Street, being complicit with NAFTA, the crime bill. We start seeing a little bit of the effects of it, but then like as time go on, you get to see the real disastrous effects of the presidency. And CJ, you say you just remember. Maybe a lot of people our age as well. I remember clearly in high school during the Bush administration, everyone was like, Bill Clinton was like the first black president. He was such a great president. No one says that now. I love that shift, because I don't know if you like that. No one mentions Bill Clinton as a great president anymore. And that's like people used to say that all the time growing. It was like a common, the same way people say Barack Obama is still a good president, like the same way there are a lot of people that still hang on that is how people was on Bill Clinton. But now that's dead. Like after the crime bill, after NAFTA, after Epstein, after they don't even try to pull that shit.
They don't even try that no more, because they know, because it's too many things have come to the light to where like, oh nigga, you can't tell us that shit now. You can't tell us that shit now. So I get it. I think that's all I have to say on it. Like I said, I don't have a lot of I don't know a lot about the I mean, I know the basics. I'm saying I don't know the intricate details, like the list, like everybody that's on the list supposedly that came out. Like I don't know that stuff, but everybody knows about this person. He's in memes about it all the time. I don't know how many times I've seen the meme, but that laugh is a practice laugh. Yep. That really was like a dagger. That was a rehearsed laugh that he has practiced. That's why he could play it off like that. Now you tell me in public somebody is publicly bringing up the fact of what you did and you almost to the end of your life without it coming out, like really coming out. You know he's upset about it. But that practice laugh and that smile, and Barack Obama is just like this, where they have this just way of like they know they're gonna freaking kill you or killing you, but they're just smiling and people are just in awe of that person. So that's all. We can move to the next
do, if you don't mind. I want to start with the Israel story, if you don't mind, because that was
go ahead.
Friday. Let's start with the Israel story, and then we can move on to
we'll go faster with the other stories. Don't worry. I'm sure we can finish.
We talked about it a little bit on Saturday. There is a devastating effect that is created on the global stage by the U.S. being such criminal hypocrites. And that even not even a strong enough term. They are the hypocrites of the biggest order. Like apparently Ukrainians, it's okay to send billions of dollars to Nazis in Ukraine for them to fight, but Palestinians, you guys, any Palestinian that throw a rock at Israeli Zionist forces is called a terrorist. Just one of many of the hypocrisies when they put sanctions on developing countries like Venezuela, when they put sanctions on Cuba, and they say, oh, the reason why we're doing it is because they're authoritarian regimes. while supporting Saudi Arabia, while supporting some of the most authoritative, like they was friends with Ivan Duque in Colombia, the far-right government that just lost, who used to criminally execute protesters and activists in the streets, who the Colombian government was quite literally ran in coordination with drug cartels. And there was a Colombian doctor, I featured his video on here before, where he explained like the government of Colombia is literally embedded with criminals, and the United States was allies with them because they shared their geopolitical agenda. So this hypocrisy, this global hypocrisy, allows this new axis of evil to double down. The axis of evil is the United States, Israel, the UK, Saudi Arabia. And Ukraine is not big enough to throw in there with them, but the Ukraine is definitely part of their satellite puppet states now, because the global community voted to condemn the embargo on Cuba. You want to know the only countries that voted no? The United States and Israel. Then the two countries that voted to abstain is Ukraine, Zelensky's Ukraine, and Bolsonaro's Brazil. So do you guys see the far right fascist element on the global stage? Is the West. I'm sorry, boo-boo. I know you like this country. I'm sorry to break it to you, but we are the far right fascist evil empire in the globe. You have China that is focused on building. You got BRICS that is being established, that is all about uplifting the global class and uplifting a multipolar world, while you have the Ukrainian Nazis, the UK, the former colonial powers teaming up with the United States and Israel to dominate the world. And you guys are rooting for these people. So Israel, under the shield that is given by the West, has only doubled down on their ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinian people, because they know they have this shield of hypocrisy. Anyone who calls out Israel war crimes is called an anti-Semite, and this is even done by the Democratic Party. Ayanna Pressley, these people still defend Israel to this day. Nina Turner refused to stand with Palestinians, refused to support BDS to this day. And because of that, you have Israel and Zionism that is becoming even more extreme throughout the years. The citizens are becoming even more radicalized. And now they just elected the most far-right coalition in the history of their government, probably the most far-right coalition in Europe. So Benjamin Netanyahu is back. And I was terrified when Netanyahu first came back, because I remember, like, as someone who always covered the Israel-Palestine issue, he was the big bad guy. The big bad guy. Everything they said Trump was, Netanyahu quite literally was. But now he's considered the moderate in this new coalition that they formed. And I'm not bullshitting you guys. So Netanyahu, who was prosecuted and it was shown that he was corrupt, and on top of that, he was a war criminal, he's the most sane guy they have. I hope I'm saying this shit right. The Likud party, the far right party in Israel, Netanyahu is their moderate flank in that party, because Netanyahu's position, which has always been ethno-fascist, was that, oh, we need to keep Palestinian death count low. Like, oh, make sure you guys don't kill too many Palestinians because it make it look bad. We got to make sure we clamp down on Palestinian resistance in Gaza. We need to make sure they're subservient to us, but we can leave them alone as long as they don't fuck with us. No, bruh. The ideology of the Likud party that led by Netanyahu is straight up, Palestinians, you bow down to our rule or we will wipe you the fuck out. So Netanyahu is like the moderate. Netanyahu's like, come on, guys, we can't wipe them all out. And it's to the point, and this is how you know it's bad, because and people who watch our old segments, or anyone who does anti-imperialist reporting like the Gray Zone, will know the Western bias towards Israel, even the far-right elements of Israel they apologize for. For example, they want us to have Trump derangement syndrome, while Kamala Harris was literally friends with Netanyahu. Netanyahu, everything Trump is, Netanyahu is that, but worse. Trump was accused of being an ethno-fascist. Netanyahu is quite literally that. He dreamt about having a state of only one religion and one ethnicity. That is quite literally ethno-fascist. Donald Trump had harsh immigration policies, but he never straight out said he wanted to ban black people, he wanted to ban Latino, he only wanted white countries. Netanyahu literally spoke about that before. So everything you guys say Trump is, that is Netanyahu. But Democrats are friends. Chuck Schumer, Netanyahu, good friends. But people wonder why they have Trump derangement syndrome. They all the same. But Netanyahu now he's the moderate. So it's to the point where the Western media is now like, holy shit. And we can discuss this later because this actually kind of baffles me because I'm still trying to figure out the reason why they are being critical of this. Because I actually never really ever see Western media be critical of Israel. I'm gonna show you guys a corporate media segment where they kind of talk about actually I want to show you guys this first. This is Mike Pompeo. I'm gonna show you guys this, and I'm gonna show you. I'll go to the corporate media story. Well, even they talk about the elements. So this is Mike Pompeo, the most extreme elements of our government welcoming Netanyahu back. Anyway, let's get. I'm gonna show you guys the corporate media story, and then I'll discuss more. I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's watch the segment first, and I add to it because I'm ranting way too much. Here it is.
Israel is close to wrapping up its fifth election in less than 4 years, and it appears that Benjamin Netanyahu is poised to make a comeback as prime minister.
Fueling Netanyahu's comeback is his alignment with Israel's far right. Now, that coalition appears very likely to win a comfortable majority in parliament. The final vote tally could come as early as today. Let's bring in CBS News contributor Robert Berger to talk about this. And Robert, just tell us what the main priorities will be of Netanyahu and his right-wing allies, and how much of this, we spoke about how many elections in the past 4 years, how much of this is tied up with not just Israeli identity, but Jewish identity, and how some feel in some ways it may be under threat?
Well, Jewish identity, it all comes down to security. Do the Jewish people feel secure in their own land? And that's why I'd say the number one priority for this government is security, especially since Palestinian attacks have been continuing over the past several months.
And this is also why I want to pull this up, because you can see the corporate propaganda there. The Palestinian attacks has gone up as Israel has been offensively bulldozing lands in Palestine. They've been executing journalists, and they killed hundreds of Palestinians just this year in offensive raids.
And even
let me
go ahead.
Let me give it an American context for those that may not get it when they say Palestinian attacks, and you're going like, I just don't grasp what Nick is trying to say. Put it in American terms. It'd be like saying enslaved African attacks.
Yes, it makes no sense.
That's what that would be. So it'd be like calling a slave who is trying to liberate from being a slave, calling whatever means that slave uses to get out of that slave of the slave state he or she is in. That's an attack. So that's the context of saying Palestinians attacking.
So just to show you guys how ridiculous
Israel
this is, I literally, because I had to find the current count, because we can't even use like the death count from 2 weeks ago because that's old. This is from yesterday. Israeli force killed Palestinian youth in West Bank. 2 days ago, 18-year-old Palestinian killed by Israeli army fire. This is from last week. 5 Palestinians killed among mounting violence ahead of Israeli elections. And the reason and this is another one from 2 weeks ago. Palestinian death toll hits 100 this summer. Another one from another 2 weeks ago. 6 Palestinians killed by Israeli forces. So they keep so the corporate Western news talking about Palestinian attacks, but there is literally an offensive assault by Israeli forces into mosque. They are violating a sacred area for a lot of Palestinian worshipers. And they expect them to be completely like passive about it. Of course, so like if someone being forced out of their home, there are people being brutalized, and someone throw a rock in protest, they be like, "Oh, he threw a rock. He's a terrorist," and they murder him. And then in the corporate media, they write about it like, "Oh well, Palestinians threw some stones, so it was a clash." Anyway, let's continue this segment.
You understand?
Go
I
ahead.
need people to understand why America is okay with Israel. You understand? It's like America is saying, "Oh, I see so much of myself in this sweet summer child of Israel." America sees so much of what Israel is and is doing as them. This is the reason why it's okay. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's like they can't have Israel as an ally if Israel isn't doing this, because the whole point of having this ally or Israel as an ally is that specific location. So they're okay with them doing all of this sort of thing that the United States did at the time when they took the American landmass. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a good segment to play. I'm gonna show you guys how our corporate media covers this shit. Nice. Everything they say about the Palestinian conflict is lies. Lies by omission. And that's why I'm glad we have people like the Palestinian Community Network on, and I got a lot of Palestinian comrades that can set the lie straight. But let's continue.
Jerusalem, an Israeli soldier was stabbed by a Palestinian near the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Or
An Israeli soldier was stabbed by a Palestinian near a mosque. What was the soldier doing near a mosque, sir? You guys want to hear it again?
An Israeli soldier was stabbed by a Palestinian near the Al-Aqsa Mosque or Temple Mount before being shot dead by police. What are the more?
What was he doing near the mosque, sir? And if you guys don't know, we covered this, by the way. Israel has been doing these mosque raids and assaulting and killing Palestinians because they do that as not because they're being attacked by the people in the mosque. They call it counterterrorism. So they make up false charges and say, "Oh, this mosque is hiding Hamas soldiers." And guys, straight up, whether that's true or not is completely irrelevant. Even if that's true, what they're doing is still wrong. They are waging offensive aim at civilians. I just want to point out that it's often false. But even if it is true, it's still a crime. But they will say Hamas is hiding Palestinian fighters in mosques, so we got to do offensive raids into these mosques because they are complicit with terrorism. Then later they do an investigation. They're like, there's no evidence. Independent investigations like there's no evidence that ties this mosque with Hamas extremism. Then the Western media will never cover it. So ask yourself this question: why the soldier at this mosque? And then they say the guy who stabbed the Israel soldier shot and killed. So that's another example of them being offense, and that they was being offensive here, because I read these stories all the time. They raid the mosque, they attacking their family and friends. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Like imagine you're chilling in church and you see these offensive people storming your community. Of course, you might fucking stab someone. If someone is assaulting my family, I'm not religious, but in this scenario, if I was at church and my family's being assaulted, I might stab a motherfucker. Just saying. Then they say, look at these terrorists. Yeah, they confirm our suspicions that there was terrorists there because they defend themselves. But sorry, let me continue the segment. I don't want this story to go too long, so I'll speed it up a little bit.
Extreme members of or perhaps I should say the most extreme member of this new government, an anti-Arab politician named Itamar Ben-Gvir, is hoping to be police minister, and he's calling for tougher measures to quell Palestinian violence and unrest. And then also on the...
They see the numbers, which is already record amount of Palestinians being killed. Insane amount of raids that's going on. You guys saw how Ashley from the Palestinian Community Network, what she said. Calling it apartheid is giving legitimacy to the state because that assumes that that they're civilians, that the Palestinians are actually being treated as civilians. Because apartheid state said if you're a apartheid state, you got second-class citizens, right? She said they don't even treat them as that. That's too light. Just like it's a genocidal state. Let me continue.
The issue of security is Iran. The Israelis are extremely alarmed. Iran has been enriching uranium at a furious pace, and Israel is worried that they're getting.
Iran has been enriching uranium because the United States pulled out a nuclear deal. This is a 3-minute segment. You guys see, I can't stop it because every line is a lie. I'm gonna keep it going because I don't want this to go too long. But I'm gonna keep it. Every line is a lie by these fucking people.
Close to developing a nuclear weapon. So this government wants to see tougher action from the U.S. on Iran, and they're going to make it clear that that they're prepared to act on their own to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
What? What? Do you guys understand what he just said? So the United States, under Donald Trump, and then continued by Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden, had a hardline stance on Iran, which is why Trump pulled out the Iran deal, and then Biden continued Trump's policy of it. He was pretty much saying, we're not getting back to the Iran deal until you guys meet compliance, while we continue to sanction them, which makes no sense for them to agree with it. So why will we get back in the deal if you guys are still sanctioning us, but we can't enrich our uranium? That doesn't make sense. And they know it doesn't. I covered it so many times. I had Saul Rod on who covered this with me as well. Biden's policy on Iran has been just as bad as Donald Trump. But the far-right coalition in Israel looks at the United States' position on Iran, which is already unhinged. And they said, you pussies aren't going far enough. Do you guys understand how crazy this new Israeli government is? They said if the United States don't help escalate this war with Iran, trust me, the United States is trying. But the United States is like, Israel, guys, there's a process to this shit. There's an art to regime change. We can't just fucking start it out of nowhere. Israel's like, motherfuckers, let's go. We itching. We bombing Syria. We purging Palestinians. We are itching to go. You guys see this is the axis of evil? This is the axis of evil. Actually, I have I'm gonna show you guys this here. This is the article. I went kind of out of order, but that's fine. Because this is the article that's critical of the new Israeli government. This one right here. And I haven't really seen anything like this before. Wait, what? Let me disable this. I thought I did disable it. All right, let me pull this article up. And Jesus fucking Christ, come on. All right. And you can find a lot of stories like this. And this was written by Thomas Friedman, who is an unhinged Zionist, not a moderate by any stretch of the imagination. And I've been seeing stories like this, and I'm like, wow, even they are calling out New Israel. And I don't know what to make of it. I'll be honest. I would love to talk to some other anti-war journalists. Why are they now talking about this when this has always been a problem? They like, and one theory I have, maybe they're calling them out, hoping to rein them in, because like, God, you're making Zionism look bad. You're making us look bad by comparison. So maybe we cover you critically. You guys can rein in a little bit because they try and pretend that the Western hegemonic dominance set by the West, that the Ukraine war, proxy war is really about Western dominance. They want them to be like the beacons of human rights, even though they're not. So maybe Israel is making them look too bad. I'm not really sure what to make of it. But I'm going to read this article. Israel, we knew, is gone. Netanyahu returned, far-right rise. And he compares it to Donald Trump, to the rise of Trumpism. And he said, he wrote this op-ed, the Israel we knew is gone. And he explained to the U.S. the readers of the significant and the lucky chairman, Benjamin Netanyahu, along with its accomplishers on the far right. Now, look at this. This is what he says. He says, and remember, this guy is a Zionist. He's been a supporter of Israel. And once again, the Israel that we knew is gone. So you look at like the Netanyahu era, the early 2010s, late 2000s. He's like, we need to go back to that. We need to go back to casual genocide. So this is what he says. Imagine you woke up after the 2024 U.S. presidential election and found that Donald Trump had been reelected, and then they chose Rudy Giuliani as Attorney General, Michael Flynn for Defense Secretary, Steve Bannon as Commerce Secretary, and evangelical leader James Dobson. Jesus fucking Christ. Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio for Homeland Secretary head, and Marjorie Taylor Greene for White House spokesperson. And he explains this is essentially what has happened in Israel. And this is just one example of a few stories I've seen over the last few days of the media like, yo, maybe this Zionism shit's going off the rails. I don't know. I'm going to keep up with this. I'm going to see how they continue. I see how they continue to cover this because this is actually pretty unique. And this is from Ukraine. This is from Ukraine. Here's Zelensky after Netanyahu has won. I'm showing you guys the new axis of evil. Even the media in the United States is calling out Israel now. But Zelensky, and Israel is not arming Ukraine, by the way. They're not. One of the few Western allies was not. Mm-hmm. And he said, congratulations to Netanyahu on winning the elections. It's always important to see real democracy in action. Ukraine and Israel share common values. You don't say.
No, they don't.
You don't say, Zelensky.
And what is that? Does he not know that Israel loves Russia? Because they know that Russia lost a lot of people and were the reason for the defeat of Nazis. They know that in Israel.
So Zelensky has praised Israel before, and he literally said this. He said after the war started, he said he wants to see Ukraine follow the Israel model. These are things that Zelensky has said. Zelensky is looking at Zionism, and he's like, can't wait to do that to them ethnic Russians, baby. The Romanis, woo! We got some apartheid plan for them. Look at this. We hope to open a new page in cooperation with the new Israeli government for Ukraine and Israeli benefit. This is the new axis of evil. The Ukraine, who also, once again, abstained to condemn the Cuban embargo. And this is Zelenska. That's always funny. That's funny. Her name's Zelenska. But Zelenska is afraid of peace. Tell you guys the insanity of the Ukraine and Ukrainian ideology. So when Elon Musk hinted to the idea of peace, Zelenska was like, man, I really hope that was a mistake. That was a chance mistake. How dare you advocate for peace in my country? You would think, as First Lady, you would want people to call for peace. But nope. This is the Zelensky regime. But anyway, that's all I have on this segment. We can move on to the next one.
Yeah, we'll clip that for those that are watching on replay and want to get that. But we're definitely going to clip this segment. Let's do a quick announcement. Like the stream, we're currently at 400, over 400 people watching. The next story that's coming up is TYT, Jank, and Matt Gaetz. We're going to start with Twitter, so let me bring that up. But we're at 293 likes. Can we push to 350? Let's push to 350 likes. That'll get some more people in for this story. This next story that involves Cenk Uygur and TYT, and actually Nina Turner too. Nina Turner too. So like the stream. This is our current subscriber count. Make sure you're subscribed to us because you will be unfollowed by YouTube. And lastly, join our Substack if you're watching this on replay or you just joined us live and you missed like the first hour. If you want to get notifications, join our Substack, and those notifications go out generally 30 minutes to an hour before we start. So
good, Rome. I want to shout this out actually too. Since
Go ahead.
Rome in the house, I retweeted so I can pull it up pretty quick. I want to get shout out to what Roman's doing. Here it is. Since we got our boy Rome in the house, I want to shout out this GoFundMe if you guys want to have, if you want something to support. Rome is doing good things. This is a tweet from our comrade Rome. Real great work here. Rome is building a library in the east side of Detroit. He needs some help. So this is the GoFundMe that Rome has for the library he's building. I'll put a link in here. I'll copy and paste that. So big shout out to our boy Rome, doing great stuff for the community, as always. So go ahead, CJ. I just want to add that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's now go to the next story. That's the GoFundMe link if you want to check it out. So the next story, Matt Gaetz on TYT. So let's share the link. I'm sorry, let me share the announcement. Where is it? I guess this is it right here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is Jimmy, but let's click on the actual item here. So this is TYT, the Young Turks. Matt Gaetz will join Cenk, Anna, and Nina during our midterm election live coverage. Tune in starting 8 p.m. Eastern. This is for tomorrow. Just off of this, Nick, let's list the name of the people here. Cenk, Anna, and Nina. All three of those people absolutely refuse to even speak to Jimmy Dore, but they're having Matt Gaetz on. And we're going to bring up a video of them talking about Matt Gaetz.
Hell, let's raise the stakes, CJ. All right, you guys have beef with Jimmy Dore. Okay. You guys won't even have RBN on. You guys won't have a conversation with black activists, but you're having a conversation with Matt Gaetz? So if you don't want to have Jimmy on because your personal beef, fine. But think about other people they refuse to platform and they refuse to have conversation with, but they'll have a conversation with this pedophile. So these same people, this same wing, are the people who had a meltdown when Jimmy Dore had an interview with a Boogaloo Boy. But they can talk to someone who literally have institutional power that's implementing white supremacy. No principles. No, that what no principle looks like, guys. Because I'm consistent. I didn't fucking give a fuck if Jimmy interviewed Boogaloo Boy. I don't really care what independent media chooses to, who people choose to talk to. But if you're gonna be consistent, if you're one of the people who had a meltdown because Jimmy interviewed a Boogaloo Boy, but you're cool with TYT having someone who quite literally has power, no matter what you feel about the Boogaloo Boys, you can always say, oh, well, these are some assholes who don't have power. Matt Gaetz literally have power and literally doing negative stuff with that power.
Right.
But it's okay for you guys to wind and down with them. But if we march with someone for healthcare, we're red, brown lines. Isn't that
who's a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Another worker who's barely making it, who's making ends meet, working 60 hours. If we team up with them to do anything, that's Red Brown Alliance. But you bring on Matt Gaetz, and you best believe he ain't asking them anything about no sexual attraction. You best believe he is not touching that. You best believe he's gonna be nice and all this other stuff. Do this. Play the interview he had with Breonna Joy Gray, and then play the interview he's gonna have with Matt Gaetz, and you tell me what the difference looks like to you. It's to me, it's absurd, and it confirms how unserious TYT and Cenk is. But this tweet here, so here's Matt Gaetz, and I guess he's sort of acknowledging people don't like this. Some people don't like this.
See, so Anna has me blocked. So I didn't see any of her responses to this. And in the TYT, I be blocked, so I can't even see anything regarding the main tweet at all.
So you just now
So-
seeing this.
Yes, I
then.
didn't stop on Anna no more. So I'll let you cover it, but I'm not seeing this for the first time because I can't see any of the TYT content on Twitter. No Morales, what do you think gonna happen? He's gonna come on, we're gonna hypnotize everyone. But this is the same. You guys literally attacked anyone else for platforming someone on the right.
And that's my critique.
Jesus
Like they can have
Christ.
him on.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that, but we're trying to point out the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Is the point of this segment, is that we're pointing out the hypocrisy that you have the audacity to bring on Matt Gaetz, but but people like Jimmy Dore, activists like RBN, oh, that's a problem. Because we're mingling with right wingers. Who are you hanging out with? So let me read Anna's tweet, but let's go to what is she responding to here. So this is the original or one of the announcements. I'm not going to say original. It says Matt Gaetz will join Cenk, and I read that to you, and it has the little picture. It's the same graphic we actually use for ours. But then it says this person is a blue check. I don't know who. Oh, actually, yeah, it's a Bernie person. It says author, activist, former Bernie surrogate, Jonathan Tassini. So maybe they were famous. So, and then another blue check. So maybe Anna's only replying because these are blue checks who are chiming in. So come on, y'all have lost your mind. Grifters, a blue check, and it's a Bernie Sanders surrogate. That's a problem for her, for them. Exactly. No morals. Another blue check.
So these are the people Anna responded to. So that's why I can't see nothing.
Right.
But that's why she responded. She's like, oh no, the establishment don't like. She don't care what the peasants think.
Yeah.
Right. I don't give a fuck. But if the blue checks, if the establishment start calling me a grifter, oh shit.
Now let's go to her reply now. And you'll see Matt Gaetz. So Matt Gaetz is quote tweeting her reply to those blue checks, and her reply was, "No morals. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to come on, and we're going to hypnotize everyone watching to join Patriot Front. He's a member of Congress. We get to ask him whatever we want. Grow up." Now, Nick, you tell me how this is not the same exact response that we give when they say Boogaloo Boys. Oh, he went on Matt. Oh, he went on Tucker Carlson. Oh, he went on this. Isn't this the same response?
I saw people melting
Don't
down.
we say, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yes.
He's just going on there to have conversations. You think he's gonna trick him into something else? Like he's like, what is the problem? He has a big platform if we're talking about Tucker Carlson, for example. But he's a member of Congress, and we can ask him anything. So I just don't understand. We're pointing out the hypocrisy. Why is this okay, and why isn't the other okay?
Dude, I still remember there was people on the TYT left, and if you're on Twitter, we all know them. There were people on the TYT left that was upset with me because I had a debate with Jackson Hinkle where I disagreed with him about MAGA communism, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're gonna grow Jackson Hinkle influence," even though his channel way bigger than us, so that don't make sense on face value. So they're like, "Oh, you were legitimizing his beliefs." Meanwhile, on the same end, they would do this. They'll form coalitions with right-wing politicians. They'll vote for a right-wing party. The only thing I'm asking for is consistency. As people mentioned before, I didn't give a fuck that Jimmy interviewed a Boogaloo Boy. I didn't even know. Me and CJ don't barely know anything about the Boogaloo Boy. I don't care.
I didn't know anything about it
on their individual YouTube channels. That's not something that impacts my life, right? But if you are going to take that position, at least have some consistencies, right? But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah. So what I want to do now is just show Cenk's tweet, and then I'm going to play a video of what you hear them talking about Matt Gaetz. So let's answer. Oh, so let's go to this. I want to go to a couple of Cenk tweets because, of course, this started something. So let's read this one. This is a more recent one, and then we'll go to a couple of older ones. So let's go to the original. I always want to tell you the whole story. So on Monday's episode of Conversation, I will interview Larry Elder. And if you don't know, Larry Elder is the person who ran against Gavin Newsom, the Republican person who could have won, and he is terrible. He is coon to the fifth power. Terrible. Larry Elder. Everybody hurry up and make assumptions. So after he interviewed Matt Gaetz and Larry Elders, is he bringing on the Uhuru socialists? Is he gonna bring on like the latest like communist chapter? Is socialist alternative coming on? But make assumptions. Don't forget to yell at me about talking to people we don't agree with. This motherfucker got the audacity to say that, Nick. Talking to people we don't agree with. Now, so this guy replies to that and he says, "Are you guys giving Gaetz a platform?" What the fuck? Sorry, I'll go back. Are you guys giving Gaetz a platform, or was that some D-State fake tweet I saw? So he replies to this. It's the only quote tweet, so let's just go to that. "No, you saw right. We are just handing over entire platforms to Matt Gaetz, and when we're interviewing him, we will be able to speak. And from then on, he will mind control our entire audience. Oh, sorry, I thought I was a TYT critic on Twitter for a second time."
So,
come on, go ahead, Nick.
So based on this logic, Jank, why not have a debate with Glenn Greenwald or Jimmy Dore on your show? Because he was asked that by Brian Joy Gray. And his response was, "Oh, I'm not going to have a conversation with Jimmy Dore or Glenn Greenwald because I fundamentally don't believe these people believe what they say. I don't believe they're legitimate." But you believe that Matt Gaetz and Larry Elder?
Come on, Larry Elder.
Like, are we serious? Are we serious right now? So that shows the cowardice. So whenever he says that, because we all know, and Matt Gaetz, any politician, I know Matt Gaetz, I see her speak, they do full shit. Like, he's not even worth covering to me. He's not even worth covering. Literally a waste of time, because I know
he's like a
Marty Taylor Greene. I don't cover Marty Taylor Greene that much either, because I know it's a waste of time. These people are not serious. They probably the least serious people in politics. Like, Matt Gaetz and Marty Taylor Greene is literally like the squad of the Republican Party. They are very unserious. They say whatever is the most controversial, whatever giving the most fundraising, that is their gimmick. So if you're going to pick anyone in the Republican Party to talk to, Matt Gaetz? You mean the fucking pedophile? So I don't believe you when you say you don't want to debate Glenn Greenwald because you don't think he's serious. There's no one that could rationally say that Matt Gaetz is more serious and steadfast in his beliefs than Glenn Greenwald. How can anyone make that argument?
Yeah, so what I want to show you now is a snippet of a conversation that Jank is having with John on the TYT and also Nina.
I have other issues.
And it happens to be about Matt Gaetz when the trial was going on. So let's listen how they talk about Matt Gaetz. This is about 3 minutes we're going to listen to. Let's listen to how 3 minutes on this, and then it's another video that's about 2 minutes. The stuff they're saying about him, just let's listen, Nick. Where am I? This is it right here. I think I queued it up to the right spot, so let's listen.
For issues that I'm going to express, I want to give the panel a chance to weigh in. What do you think about the fact that at this point, it looks like there will not be charges? There still could be, but it looks like there will not be.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be. Okay.
So they're saying it looks like there's not going to be sex trafficking charges for Matt Gaetz. So that's the context of the video.
Okay, so look, I think that it cuts in both directions, and we got to be fair and honest about all of this, right? So number one, John's absolutely right. Somebody not pressing charges doesn't mean that that person is quote unquote innocent. For example, Michael Cohen went to jail for paying hush money. His co-conspirator was Donald Trump. Well, they both definitely did it. There's no question about it. It's just that Trump didn't go to jail and wasn't charged, and Michael Cohen was. And it's actually a very similar case. And why? Because one of them is a politician and among the elites, and prosecutors get scared. They're really, really scared of people in the elites. Oh, what if we lose? And what are they scared of? Oh, are they going to get sent to a gulag? No. They're just scared because they're obsessed with their reputations. But ironically here, they blew it because, and I saw this from CNN, so credit where credit is due. It's Ellie or Eli Honig, their legal expert. He made a really good point. And he said, well, they already gave Joel Greenberg, the main co-conspirator in this case, a deal to testify against Gaetz. And now they're saying they're not going to charge press charges on Gaetz because Greenberg is just not reliable enough as a witness. Then what the hell did you give him a deal for? I mean, he confessed to tons of crimes and got a much reduced sentence. I mean, that is an absolute fail on the prosecutor's part because you can't have it both ways. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have given the guy a deal if you're not going to use his testimony. It is horrible, horrible planning. But I will add, guys, he didn't get, whether we like it or not, he didn't get charged with it and he didn't get prosecuted for it. I'm honestly, from my point of view, and I only speak for myself, I'm not saying that I'm never going to mention that again, but I'm going to talk about it a lot less because.
So that answers all of your questions to, is he going to talk about the sex trafficking thing when Matt Gaetz is on his show tomorrow? He just gave you the answer to that he's not bringing that shit up. Isn't that what he said? He just said, I'm not going to do that.
I mention that again, but I'm going to talk about it a lot less because unfortunately it didn't get proven in a court of law and that does matter.
Yeah.
So before Nina speaks, like I said, he just said the sex trafficking thing he's not bringing up tomorrow when Matt Gaetz is on the show. So you just heard him. But let's listen to Nina Turner speak about Matt Gaetz.
It definitely is what you can prove. I mean, that's what a court of law is all about. I want to go even before we even got to an investigation stage, which is why would this man take a 17-year-old anywhere? Can we just start at the genesis? He should not be, taking a 17-year-old anywhere. That is the main, wouldn't even be caught up in this mess had he not taken the 17-year-old somewhere without, her parents or a chaperone. Doesn't make sense. So that doesn't add up to me. For me, that is the main problem. Wouldn't even be here but for that.
Yeah, 100%. And we won't get more details, it's looking like, on any of the early information.
Now, I'm gonna fast forward because there's a lot of damning things in here, but I don't, we got a lot of other stories to cover, so I don't want to play the whole thing. But there's a lot of damning comments they make about Matt Gaetz in this video. So I'm really just very curious to see how they're even going to interact with him. Like some of the stuff they say in here, it looks like I'm gonna have to restart my video. But some of the stuff they say in this video, Nick, and I'll take it down while I restart it. Some of the stuff they say in this video is just some crazy stuff they say about Matt Gaetz, but now they're just gonna come and bring him in, or we're just gonna talk about the election. And think about it. They are bringing this guy in, Nick, after they're pushing, democracy, election deniers. Who do you think Matt Gaetz is? In the video, John, the other guy, a TYT host, he says, oh yeah, if Matt Gaetz would definitely be down for another coup attempt. But that guy is coming on to give commentary on your election night where the Republicans are gonna win. So you have Matt Gaetz, by your definition, January 6th at least supporter, coming on your show to give commentary on election night when you're telling people democracy is in trouble. I just find it very ironic, Nick. I find it very ironic and very just like I couldn't write this if I was trying to write my own movie. I couldn't write this script myself. Go ahead, Nick.
Maybe they're gonna get chummy and talk about some things they agree with, like on criminal justice. Because I don't know if you guys saw this. Why you prepared the video?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to show you guys this. Because this is probably why Jenkins is reaching out to people like Matt Gaetz. And you see a lot of these pro-police state people. They're like, "Oh my God, TYT is finally getting it right." So once again, Cenk Uygur and TYT, they will call Glenn, they will call Jimmy, they will call anyone that disagree with the strategy of supporting the Democratic Party. They will call them right wingers. Meanwhile, their stances on foreign policy, on Ukraine, on criminal justice is literally in alignment with the right wing. Like when you look at their criminal justice ideology, it's the same as Steve Bannon. This is an article written by Anna Kasparian, the greatest Karen I've ever seen, the Karen of the left. And Newsweek gives you a platform. Imagine as a leftist, if you're watching this, imagine anyone on RBN, Newsweek's like, you get write one article in Newsweek. Think about all the things you can raise awareness on. But Anna is given an article in Newsweek, and you want to know what she spends that time on? Does she spend it raising awareness on the Palestinians? On the kids in cages, the border crisis, because of neoliberal imperialism politics? Are they covering the lies of the mainstream media? Nope. She gets a Newsweek article, and she repeats right-wing fear-mongering on crime. So Matt Gaetz and TYT is closer on the Overton window than you guys would think. Much closer. That's why they can chum around and be pals. And look at this. She cried just like a right-winger. You can find this same article in New York Post and Fox News, posting crime reports. And this is, I'll skimming this, and this is ridiculous. Anna, like, oh my God, crime is higher than it's ever been in 25 years. 30% spike. Look at all these bullshit numbers. Hey, Anna, this is despite record amount of police funding. So what are you saying? This is despite neoliberal policies. The Democratic Party, after the defund the police movement, spit in our faces, gave us the middle finger, and every single Democratic mayor gave the police more money. The police got our COVID relief funds, and they are not stopping the murder rate from going up. What does that tell you, Anna? This article is trash, by the way. And Cenk happily tweets it out. And anyone call on, this is what I said. And this is another point I want to bring up. They literally had a conversation with Olayemi. They had a debate with Olayemi. Olayemi debunked all their bullshit on criminal justice. And they framed it as, oh, we heard our critics from the left. We heard you guys, and we want to have a learning. We want to have a conversation. They have Olayemi on. Olayemi completely destroys them. And just like Democracy Now!, and this is what we spent on our last stream, they don't retain any of the knowledge. So everything that Olayemi did when Olayemi explained what crime is and explained how police manipulate crime stats, Olayemi took them to church. And then after that conversation, she writes this piece in Newsweek. Are you guys telling me that Olayemi was not persuasive if they really went in there with a good faith disagreement? That shows that they did not. They heard.
No, it was a dog and pony show. It was a dog and pony show, and they just wanted to go through the motions to prove that we care, so that we can keep our left bravado, our left validation, and that's the entire reason they did that. But it's to me, Nick, it's getting more and more transparent. Where more and more people, we see it every day. Man, I'm glad I found y'all. I don't listen to that shit no more. Every time we bring up a particular channel, I don't listen to that shit because I'm glad I found you guys. They just can't. I don't see how it's hard. It would be hard for you to watch this and be into it and watch TYT and be into it. Like that's a hard thing to do. Now, I did cue it up to some of the things that John says about him, because I just want to play this last part and then we're going to move on to the next story. So let's listen to John talk about him some more. Now, this is the guy they're bringing on tomorrow.
So long as it's not about a particular actual predator. They don't care about that. They were like a little bit interested in Epstein, but they don't want to think about who he actually hanged out with. Ghislaine Maxwell, you could wish her well, doesn't matter. That's not suspicious. With Matt Gaetz, I mean, come on. Like if there was a Democratic congressman who was even alleged to have done this sort of thing. They'd be losing their minds. But the actual...
Think about how he's describing Matt Gaetz. Think about who he's comparing Matt Gaetz to, people like Jeffrey Epstein. That guy, this John is on your channel. How do they have room, Nick, to say, call out anybody for bringing anyone on their channel? What are you going to say? I mean, this is their own words. And throughout this whole video, we're not going to watch it, but throughout this whole video, Nina Turner too. Why are you taking out a 17-year-old? Multiple times is calling this nigga out. At a point in the video, Jank says, oh yeah, I forgot he tried to get a fucking pardon. Matt Gaetz tried to get a fucking pardon. All of that is okay. Because that's okay. That's okay. We can have conversations with that person. But when we say, hey, let's meet up with some people who voted for Trump, but they're workers working paycheck to paycheck, let's go unionize Amazon. Let's go try to get Medicare for all. That's a problem. I think we can end it there unless you had any other comments on the segment, Nick.
I'm good. We can move on to if you want the Soro story.
I'll let you lead that one because I know you have the.
I'm actually. That's actually just a part of the story. But go ahead, CJ. You want to do a like, chat, and chat,
yeah. I can do that while you get things prepared. So we're gonna move on to Soros, or a billionaire. Because Soros is specific in this story, and it is a reason we're going to talk about him. But a billionaire funds the Justice Democrats. So as Nick is pulling this up, and I'm going to do an announcement really quick before we get started into the story, but just to kind of tell you what it's about. The Justice Democrats, the people who's not supposed to take corporate money, is taking money from this billionaire, and it's a lot of money. So we're going to be talking about that. This just proves, reason number 102 of not this Justice Democrat strategy has a complete, utter failure. So let's go to the announcements. Let's like the video. We have 470 people watching right now. Now, if you're watching this on replay, or you just got here an hour and 30 minutes into the stream and you missed the previous live part, and you wish you were here, join our Substack. You will get notifications if you're on our Substack mailing list when we go live. Today's notification was sent like 30 minutes before the live start. Sometimes we do as much as 2 hours. We're currently at 425 people. Can we go to 475? Let's push to 475. We have 425 likes. Let's push to 475. And this was our subscriber count before the stream started. We'll give an update at the end. But if you're brand new, please subscribe. If you've been subscribed for a while, make sure to check that YouTube has not unsubscribed you. And Nick, we can get back into next story.
So we have midterms tomorrow. You guys decided to vote for the most important election of your lifetimes? Again, the most important election of our lifetime, where we have the choice between one party that wants to fund Nazis in Ukraine versus the other party that want to fund Nazis in Ukraine. We have the amazing choice between one party that wants to fund the police more and put 100,000 cops on the street versus another party that want to fund the cops more and probably put more than 100,000 cops on the streets. Isn't our choice in democracy grand? One party that's going to fund DHS more, the other party that's going to probably fund it more than the predecessor than that. We got amazing choices in our democracy. If we want weapons to stop being shipped to Israel for their genocide of the Palestinian people, we got only one option on the ballot, and that is only for the pro-Israel position. So let me show you guys why our democracy is a joke. The only reason I'm even going to vote is because we have marijuana legalized marijuana on the ballot, and we got affordable housing on the ballot. It went for that. I wouldn't even bother showing up. I'm gonna vote green down ballot because despite what the Democratic Party is telling you, where they say, "Oh, this election is about saving our democracy," we have no democracy. What are you guys talking about? We live in the most authoritarian, lack of democracy. And multiple studies show that the United States have the least functioning democracy, where the average working class person have no say of our politics. We live in a capitalist dictatorship. I want you guys to decolonize your mind, be introduced to Marxist terms. They want to convince you that the dictatorship of the proletariat, that that revolution inspired by the people is authoritarianism, but they are literally buying elections. In this country, you can predict who wins an election at around a 95% success rate based on who raises the most money. So you guys want to have your fun little holiday tomorrow. You guys are going to have your fun little elections, but go out and wait on lines. You're going to vote for your candidate. Thinking that you have any say in this. Your candidates was already picked and groomed for you. Even the progressives. Because they are part of this. Look at this. American billionaires spent a record $880 million on the U.S. midterm election. I thought the last election was a record. Nope, another record. And now there have been conversations where, especially after the spending of this election, 2024 is about to shatter, because it's only a midterm. This midterm, more than any other midterm in U.S. history. So 2024, they're already projecting it's going to be a completely capitalist-dominated election. And now you got Justice Democrats, you got progressives, the crying, oh my God, we got wiped out in the primaries. Why you guys think why? You guys can't beat this. And the ones who do beat it, they join the team. And look at this. Something else I noticed, whenever someone brings up George Soros, they say, oh, you've been an anti-Semite. you repeating anti-Semitic tropes that there's a shadow Jewish organization controlling our government. No, sir. We're talking about George Soros, who is the number one spender this election. $128 million. So that's 2 times more, almost 2 times more than second place. $67 million is the Republican in second place. Then you got Ken Griffin. And I do want to make this 100% clear with you guys. There is no such thing as a good billionaire. Like, there are people right now crying because their preferred billionaire is control of their preferred social media app. Elon Musk, it doesn't matter. All these billionaires suck. But for the people who think you're getting working class gains with a party that is bought and controlled at a higher clip than Republicans, do you guys know Democrats are spending way more on Republicans this election because of these oligarchs like George Soros? So when you look at how much George Soros has contributed to this election, like, he's literally responsible for about 1/5, 1/6 of the election contribution, all to one party. That is his party, baby. That is his party. The spending is up 44% over 2018 midterms. But you guys think you're saving your democracy by voting for these bought and paid for parties? And that's what I brought up. This is why I said we live in a capitalist dictatorship. But I also want to show you guys this. Because if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. Because you probably haven't heard that the Democrats is massively out fundraising the Republicans this election. You guys know that? Still poised to lose. Still poised to lose. I even saw a liberal talking head that was like, imagine what we could have done. He almost made it, CJ. I didn't save it. I didn't save the receipt. I just saw this in passing. But I saw this liberal talking head like, man, imagine what all this money could have went. You're almost there, man. You're so close. But look, Justice Democrats is bought off by Soros in dark money. $700,000 to Way to Lead. $300,000 to Organize for Justice. And that is the Justice for the Justice Democrats. The largest donor is Soros. 175,000 for the working families, and the working families is completely funded by Soros. And we got the receipts here. TYT in Majority Report, despite having research teams, despite having a massive army of people, will never tell their people this. This is our progressives being bought off by Soros. Now, this is the Open Foundation, Open Society Foundation, and working families. The Working Family Organization has been giving Justice Democrats millions of dollars this election cycle. Where do they get that money? They get that money from George Soros. That's shown here. So this is the money to the Working Family Organization. And I'm gonna pull up this. I'm gonna pull up this. This is Summer Lee. Summer Lee. Excuse me. Need to get something to drink. So she is one of the few quote unquote progressive left standing, because there was a progressive bloodbath. John Fairman, Summer Lee, they all garbage. And she's being funded by George Soros, working families. Look at this. $250,000 on the ads just for November. And then you see this is 3,000 in October. And these are all receipts that I was sent from a researcher who looked into this. I got a few more I can pull. I got quite a few of these. So remember when Bernie Sanders, Jamal Bowman, he got thousands of dollars from the worker families, who once again is funded by George Soros and their billionaire network. Summer Lee got 200,000 ad buy just last week. Nina Turner got let me pull up Nina Turner's. Someone sent me Nina Turner's. Let me look at hers. I actually didn't look at this guy sent me a ton of these. Yeah, here it is. This is, you see, let me explain what we're looking at here. So when you sort this is WFP, Worker Family Party. And Worker Family Party get millions from George Soros. That's literally the vast amount of their funding. So then, using the Worker Family Party, they then donate to Justice Democrats. So this is Nina Turner. That's about $200,000. There's just a quick estimate here. And you see how much George Soros and the organization gave a fucking shit ton to Summer Lee, a shit ton to John Fetterman. I got like a lot of these pulled up here. Any take CJ. But one last thing I want to say as I pull more up. Remember when Bernie and AOC and the squad and Justice Democrats, their entire thing was calling out money in elections and corporate money. Democrats are spending more than Republicans in dark money this election. Where is Bernie Sanders calling this out? You notice that they are radio silent about the massive influx of money. And Morning Joe, this segment, I didn't want to play it for this. I was thinking about pulling it. But in this segment, it was like, it seemed like the Democratic Party actually adjusted to the overturning of Citizens United better than Republicans did. And Morning Joe, because they're shit libs, they were saying it like it was a good thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
It backfired. The Democrats, they're smart. They learn how to out fundraise Republicans using their own game. And I'm thinking, like, you guys just admit that the Democratic Party, as we have said before, is just like the old Republican Party. They are literally the party of big money donors, and they're the ones who are also cheerleading into war. You see the connection? Remember when the Republican Party was the party that used to cheerlead for war, and they was the party that used to get the most in dark money? Now the Democrats get the most in dark money. Now they're the one who cheerleading war. Now they're the one who cheerleading giant police budgets. We have witnessed a giant Overton window shift in the last decade, and there are people who still got political analysis like they're stuck in 2015.
Yeah, TYT, Majority Report, still stuck in that era. I do want to bring up this article for this segment, Democracy is Bought. I think I just want to double check. Did you say Soro spent 128 million. Is that title on the screen right? Is it 128?
Oh yeah, let me break down the because I didn't break down the article that much. So just give me 1 minute, CJ, just so because you will know
for sure.
more here. So yeah, it's 128 million in this midterms where the Democrats are losing. So where are you getting the return on the investment? Study shows they do. George Soros is getting that money back, guys. Ask yourself how. But anyway, let me. I'm gonna read just the first two paragraphs so you get a good look. Billionaires spent a record of $880 million on the U.S. midterm election so far. So, guys, in 2020, they either gonna spend. Well, obviously, I'll take that back. Obviously, the general election is going to be spent way more than midterms. But all right, so I would draw that. So, American billionaires spend because I'm about to say they're going to spend $1 billion next election, but that's obvious. Everyone know that. But anyway, American billionaires spent a record $880 million on the U.S. midterm elections, with most of their spending favoring Republicans. Well, actually, and this was covered in Morning Joe. They talking about the Republican Party and have more billionaire donors, but the Democrats raise more money because they have more billionaire spenders, just like Soros spent 128 million. So that is true. Billionaire spending is up 44% over the 2018 midterms. It's gonna be more than 1 billion in the next week. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the numbers that we need to see here.
So the point I want to make is that American politics learns to adjust to any sort of reform you apply, any sort of reform. So whatever reform we want to add, campaign finance reform, the American political system, because it's corrupt, they'll find a way to adjust, just like they did with PACs, all this stuff. They find a way. Oh, you can't coordinate, and everybody knows they coordinate with the campaign, right? They find a way to adjust. Now, Nick, are we witnessing, this push for non-corporate candidates? That's the new thing. But are you non-corporate, Nina Turner, non-corporate, if she's taking money from the working class party and the working class party is taking money from Working Families Party? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a new way. Just like Breaking Points is considered independent media when they're corporate as fuck. It's they like, oh, something's popular, we're gonna figure out a new way to make our corporate shit fit that shit. And that's what it feels like this is. So but she's considered a non-corporate candidate, but she's getting money from this billionaire. You see how that works? Like, you see how Breaking Points is considered independent, but they're funded by a billionaire. This is the new definition. This funding by billionaires can be included. Now, I do want to bring up a section of an article. Did you have something that you wanted to share before I bring this up?
You can bring an article up, because I was just gonna bring up more of those receipts, but you can always what I did just to show you guys, and you can bring your article up. These are the candidates searched by Working Families Party, because this shows the Working Family Party is bankrolled by George Soros. You see all the money that's given, and they're just in 2020. Then we search Working Families Party, that super PAC, and once again, this is Summer Lee, this is Nina Turner, and someone sent me Jamal Bowman's. Actually, Jamal Bowman had like 300,000 on there, something like that. So they use that Working Families as a front, and then they say, "Oh no, our only donor just come from the Working Families PAC."
But who donates? Where do they get their? That's how they do.
Like a live on mission. You see the live on mission?
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. So
and people who actually research that, I'll pull up the last original tweet, and then I pass it back to you. Robbie, it was just one of many people I see cover this. Just give him a shout out. That's what he's explaining. They use these PACs. For example, Organized for Justice. The largest donor for them is Soros. So then Organized for Justice would donate 300,000 to Justice Democrats. So then Justice Democrats say, "Oh, we raise our money from Organized for Justice," but they won't bring up the fact that Organized for Justice largest donor is George Soros.
Right.
You see what I'm talking about, CJ? in this one receipt, they're bankrolled 175,000 by the Working Family Party. Once again, fund and this guy's explained they're funded by anything but George Soros, right? So they take money from these PACs that has largely had large contributions that is largely centered around the donations of George Soros and other capitalist dark money. So the Justice Democrats ran on getting corporate money out of the elections. They're silent about it now while taking that same money. And we know that I'm trying to remember, maybe I should be careful because I'll try to remember the exact quote. But I remember Chris Edwards was talking about how Bernie in the first election was even considering taking PAC money. But anyway, let's move on. I want to be careful here. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering we still have a few stories
then we 2 hours
left. Yeah, I think we can probably wrap this story, but I want to wrap it with this quote. Yeah, I want to wrap it with this quote from this article. I looked through the article to get a section that is important to read. So, U.S. midterms, American democracy in shambles, and all of what we're covering, we're going to cover Stacey Abrams. We're going to cover some of the polls. These are going to be very quick. So we're at our rapid fire section coming up where we're just topics, videos, just comment, and then go to the next one. So, but let me read this section here. So this article talks about how both parties are terrible, and they go through and explain how both parties are terrible. I'm going to read this first part. The U.S. midterm elections are concluding tomorrow under conditions of unprecedented social, economic, and political crisis. The supposed choice being offered to the American people is between two parties of capitalist reaction, both of which are dedicated to escalation of war abroad and war on the working class at home. And then it talks about all the failings of the Republicans. What I want to zero in is this part here about Democrats. So let's read it. What have been the main achievements of the Democratic Party the past 2 years when it controlled the White House and both houses of Congress? The central preoccupation of the Biden administration has been to the prosecution of war against Russia and Ukraine, which has the full support of the entire Democratic Party. This was reinforced 2 weeks ago when 30 liberal Democrats, I love how they call them liberal Democrats, sent a letter to the White House pleading for a negotiated settlement with Russia rather than continuing to escalate the risk of war. Within 24 hours after a massive backlash within political establishment, the letter was withdrawn and leaders of the Progressive Caucus issued a humiliating apology, reaffirming the group's support for prosecuting the war until victory. And this is the last paragraph. Inflation is skyrocketing. Working class living standards are being slashed. The Federal Reserve is pursuing a deliberate policy of increasing unemployment through the raising of interest rates in an effort to use social misery as a bludgeon against demands for wage increases. And I'll pause there, and we can end the segment.
Yeah.
Here.
So now we can do a few rapid fire now. Cause we can do the Tulsi. What's the other story we have? Cause damn, our live stream be going by fast.
Yeah.
I know. Cause I don't be seeing the time when I be sharing the screen. I got back from doing that segment. Like, damn, we 2 hours in. Jesus Christ.
Feel like it. So let's do this quick. So we got a quick Tulsi video. So you bring up the Tulsi video. I'll get.
We got Tulsi doing the other story because I'll probably do. What other story we got for Tulsi?
Oh, you want to know all of the stories? So all the quick, rapid stories. Let me see what
Tulsi.
they are.
No, it's good. I think I'm forgetting one.
Tulsi is a quick, rapid. Joe Biden meddles in election is a quick, rapid. Joy and Reid is just a video of Joy and Reid talking, and she says in the video. I think that'll be next. So I'll do Joy and Reid after you do this. The Tulsi video. Then we'll go to the Joy and Reid video.
Give me quicker segments. I try not to go on tangents. Anyway, all right. Let's start with the Tulsi one. So a few weeks ago, we covered Tulsi claiming that she was leaving the Democratic Party to be quote unquote independent. And I told you guys, man, we read comments, and I read comments that are critical of us. And a lot of people have fun watching our Tulsi segment where we explain who Tulsi was. But there's a lot of Tulsi people who was upset, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, Tulsi left the Democratic Party because she's against the warmongering machine. You guys are being too mean to Tulsi." I told you guys then, and I'm telling you guys now, just like I warned Tulsi fans, when I quit Bernie Sanders, I quit all these politicians when I quit that shit. And I warned Tulsi fans at the time. You can literally find an old tweet from like early 2021 where I was like, "Hey, Tulsi fans, you guys better leave right now." Like the same way I let Bernie leave Tulsi, I'm warning you guys, this shit gonna get way worse. Like you don't sell out your belief and grip just a little bit. You don't dab your feet in there. You go and see how much you can get away with. So I remember when we did our expose over Tulsi, there were some Tulsi fans that were like, "Oh my, no, well, not everyone's gonna completely leave the duopoly. She's still independent. I promise you, she won't endorse." There's so many Tulsi people who got mad at me because she won't endorse Republicans. I promise she won't. Then I saw her endorse Carrie Lake. I saw her endorse a lot of people, and they say, "Oh, well, the reason why she endorsed Carrie Lake is because she was against the COVID narrative and she's against the Ukraine narrative." And I was like, bullshit. You guys are endorsing partisans. Not like whatever. And it was hiding behind the shield of Tulsi, yeah, she endorsing Republicans, but at least she endorsing anti-war Republicans. I was still rolling my eyes. I'm like, you still can't see it. And I said it then, and I say it again. As someone who is an advocate of third parties, as independents, we can't allow these frauds like Tulsi Gabbard to get away with the shit any longer. Are we serious about building a third party movement or not? Because for a very, very long time, truly independent minded people allowed independent frauds to claim that they're independent for branding purposes. And as people who actually want to start a third party movement, I am imploring you guys, we cannot get legitimacy to these independents that are still playing the two-party duopoly game. My mindset is, if you vote red, if you vote blue, I literally do not care what you call yourself. There are people on Twitter, "I am a communist. I've been communist from day one." They got communist flags everywhere, but they vote for Joe Biden. I'm like, bro, that shit means nothing to me, bro. Only thing I care about, what are you doing with your power? CJ, you know what I'm talking about.
That's like saying I'm a vegan and I got Big Mac posters in my room. I got Big Mac posters in my room, but I'm a vegan. It's like the absurdity of it. But go ahead with the video. Go ahead.
Listen, the video now, we don't have to watch it. It's literally just totally bullshitting.
No, I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen it. I only hear people describe, unless
I watch the video.
Unless it's long.
I do the segment proper. I do the segment right because I don't want to assume everyone's seen it. I don't want to assume everyone's seen it. So let's watch it. I don't want to shortcut the segment.
Democratic Congresswoman and President. Aloha. I am former Democratic Congresswoman and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard, and I wanted to share with the people of Iowa why I'm supporting Chuck Grassley for re-election to the United States Senate. Our fundamental God-given rights and freedoms that are enshrined in the Constitution are under attack. Democrats who are in power in Washington are controlled by this radical so-called woke ideologues who are trying to put...
So just letting you guys know, the kind of people who use woke like this, the people who use woke like this are the most unserious people in politics. Just letting you guys know. I hope our being, and once again, we got a small audience, but at least our audience is going to know the people who use woke like this are the most unserious people in politics. She uses woke. She's demonizing the term woke in order to justify voting for Chuck fucking Grassley, who's been in politics longer than I've been alive. So you're an anti-establishment, independent mind, but you're endorsing one of the most established neocons in Washington, and then using the woke agenda as an excuse? You're the anti-woke imperialist. Remember, you know how they're woke imperialists? AOC is a woke imperialist. Tulsi Gabbard is an anti-woke imperialist. She uses anti-woke talking points to prop up imperialism. I'll play it back again. I'll let it finish because it's long. It's even more bullshit.
Constitution are under attack. Democrats who are in power in Washington are controlled by this radical so-called woke ideologues who are trying to push their agenda on every one of us as Americans, and their agenda stands against our freedom. whether it's trying to silence and censor and smear those who disagree.
Bro, she sounds just like fucking Sarah Palin and Amy Glock.
Yeah.
What's her name? Amy, the other one.
I don't even know.
I'm
just
blanking
know
on her name. My bad. I forgot.
Sarah
I
Palin,
forgot about her name. I was
She's
thinking
in
about the
that
other
category for me.
another evangelical. What's her? Why am I blanking on her name? Anyway, she sounds just like Sarah
Are
Palin.
you talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders?
Yeah, she's one of them. I don't know why I'm blanking on.
Yeah.
She's another fucking idiot. I don't know. Oh, anyway, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Sarah Palin. Fill in the blank. Any random conservative. Why is this appealing to anybody? Like any random dumb conservative woman. That's what she sounds like right now. Any just random one.
Agree with their narrative or their proposals, working with big tech to do so, or their hostility towards people of faith and spirituality. There's so many examples that I could cite, but now is a time for all of us as Americans to take a stand for our country and take a stand to protect our freedoms. I know that sending Senator Chuck Grassley back to the US Senate will be that check on the abuse of power in the Biden administration. He will continue to stand up for our Constitution and the right.
Yo, we need new, fresh ideas. Let's get Chuck Grassley, the 89-year-old man.
Nick, literally everything she just claimed about the Democrats. How does Chuck Grassley not literally fit that? It's certain people that fit that to a T. Chuck Grassley, Pelosi, Feinstein. Like, come on. You just said all the deep state, the cabal, the war, and all this stuff. How is Chuck Grassley not voting lock and step with all of that? It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
It is. Even Tulsi people calling her out for this. And I want to get these people once again, props for Shauna, because I get props for anyone who call out politics they like. So props for you, not calling you out. But even Tulsi fans are calling her out for this. Like, even I'm not. This Chuck Grassley is one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine. So do you guys see how Tulsi used the word woke and then she unserious? Do you guys see how there's a connection there? Oh, I'm against the Ukraine proxy war. I'm gonna support people who against that, but I'm gonna support Chuck Grassley who supported every single war, every single one. Chuck Grassley worked hand in hand with Joe Biden in the Senate in order to manufacture consent for the Iraq war and invade. He was so crucial for doing that. This alone, and Tulsi, at this point, she knows the only people who still following her are so ride or die, so lacking critical thinking skills that they don't care. She don't have to be any sort of consistent anymore. Because this one, you can make
That's where we're at.
You can make an argument that other endorsements, like Ari exposed, you can make an argument that she was exposed already a long time ago. But if you was one of the Tulsi fans that holding on to the idea that she was anti-establishment, this one doesn't drive the nail in the coffin for you. Just admit you're a single fan. You here just to worship politicians. Just admit that was about, because I even seen a lot of hardcore Tulsi fans like, yo, this is not it. Tulsi Gabbard is, despite the fact that she criticizes her all the time, Tulsi criticizes AOC all the time. But Tulsi Gabbard is literally AOC. Tulsi Gabbard does the same thing for the Republican Party that AOC is designed to do for the Democratic Party. Are we clear? Anyway, short segment. We can move on.
Yeah, let's move to the next one. So I have Joy and Reid, and she's back in the news saying some straight, like, capitalist, elite, straight, like, remember Zerlina Maxwell's comment?
Yeah.
It's on that level. Now, I'm going to play it. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm going to play it, and then I want you to tell me which one you think is worse, Zerlina's take, which we've done a stream on. I'm
going to pull up the Zerlina clip just in case you haven't seen it.
Just so we can compare,
yeah, we can compare. Let's assume anyone haven't seen that one too, so I'll pull that up while you play that one.
So let me start here. This is how I even saw her comment. So it was Glenn Greenwald, and I can take this off. So Glenn Greenwald tweeted this, and I was like, oh, so let me read it. Joy Reid's understanding of history really does begin in 2017. As sketchy as that understanding is, she has no idea that history existed before Trump. The ignorance is stunning. How can someone like this be on TV every night talking about politics, even to a tiny audience? And he has this video of Jimmy Carter, but I'm going to play her video first. And it's only 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's a great point by Glenn, because like all the anchors, Joy is an actress, I should say. Sabby Sabs, can you imagine any debate or conversation between Joy-Ann Reid and Sabby Sabs? Sabby Sabs, as a commentator, put Joy-Ann Reid to fucking shame. And on any topic, pick Joy-Ann Reid's best topic against Sabby Sabs' worst topic, and Sabby would still demolish her.
Destroy her, yeah.
So why did Joy get this job, but not Sabby Sabs? Why is Sabby Sabs not got prime time MSNBC hour? No one who is not biased would say that Joy-Ann Reid is a superior commentator than Sabby Sabs. No one would say that. But why is she the black voice that was uplifted?
Yeah, because she's terrible. So let's listen real quickly.
Hear use the word inflation are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk. So it's interesting that Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue, right? Not use just common English to sort of do on their campaigns like they're doing with crime. But what they've done is they've taught people the word inflation, right? Yeah. Most people who would have never used that word ever in their lives are using it now because they've been taught it, including on TV, including in newspapers. They've been taught this word, and they sort of wrap this word around whatever it is that they really want to vote, the reasons they really want to vote.
So the question is, if they're taught this, let's say they are taught about inflation, and why aren't Democrats teaching about inflation? Why aren't Democrats teaching about recession? Why aren't Democrats teaching about, you get what I'm saying? Like, what is the point in saying that they're teaching people about inflation? You mean they're teaching their own constituents about the shit that Joe Biden is doing by continuing and perpetuating this inflation? Go ahead.
Joy-Ann Reid is like, come on, guys, you guys are cheating. You're cheating. Come on, we agreed. Only social issues. Come on, only wedge issues. Stop talking about the economy. You guys are cheating. Stop talking about issues that impact Americans. And before we play this clip, think about the inherent classism in that clip.
That's true.
The belief that, oh, these dumb workers don't know what's really good for them. They don't know anything about inflation. I knew about inflation when I was 12, you condescending motherfucker. And that's what and they don't even realize it. They're so classist, they don't even realize they are oozing their classist disdain there. So she really believed that the average worker had no idea about basic economics, that we all just dumb zombies, barely get scratching our balls like monkeys going to work with no she think of us as dumb commoners. And that is the mindset of the elites. So the elites have to explain stuff like inflation to us. So she's like, oh, the Republican elites cheated because they gave the peasants the knowledge and the wisdom that we're supposed to keep to ourselves. It's unbelievably classist. But let's play this video.
Yeah, now this part I didn't see.
One last thing.
Go ahead.
Do you guys believe for one goddamn second that Joy-Ann Reid is talking to ordinary workers? She's like, well, I'm talking to everyday people. Everyday people don't know anything about inflation. How will you know? You are in an elite liberal bubble. How will you know what we are talking about? Are you watching RBN? Are you watching Sabby Sabs? Are you watching independent media? Are you going to the March for America for All? Are you talking to ordinary workers? So how do you even know? Anyway, go ahead, CJ. That clip is. I didn't see this before. I didn't see it before you played it. That shit was so ridiculous. Go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna close it. We'll close this segment after this Jimmy Carter clip, and I'm assuming he talks about inflation, and that's the reason why he quote tweeted this over Joy-Ann Reid.
Earlier, reducing the deficit will require difficult and unpleasant decisions. We must face a time of national austerity. Hard choices are necessary if we want to avoid consequences that are even worse. I intend to make those hard choices. I have already vetoed bills that would undermine our fight against inflation, and the Congress has sustained those vetoes. I know that the Congress will continue to cooperate in the effort to meet our needs in responsible, non-inflationary ways. I will use the administrative and the budgetary powers of my office, including the veto if necessary, to keep our nation firmly on the path of fiscal restraint. Restraint involves tax policy as well as spending decisions. Tax reduction has never been more politically popular than it is today. But if future tax cuts are made rashly, with no eye on the budget deficits, they will hurt us all by causing more inflation. There are tax cuts which could directly lower costs and prices and help in the fight against inflation. I may consider ways to reduce those particular taxes while still cutting the budget deficit. But until we have a convincing prospect of controlling inflation, I will oppose any further reductions in federal income taxes. To keep the government.
So
Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that I know. So yeah, that was Glenn pretty much exposing Joy, and I mean, there's so many ways you could have done that. The idea that inflation wasn't a term introduced in politics, it's just pure cope by Joy. And I've seen a lot of these segments where they are coping with the prospect that Democrats might be wiped out. I even say them stuff like they said, "Oh man, the Republicans, they're flooding the market with Republican-led posters, so this red wave is actually fake." The cope is real, man, and that's pretty much what that is. And this is the Zelina one. Before I forget, to compare, this has been the messaging that's been coming from MSNBC and the commentators. And I'm telling you, when I tweeted this, the whole segment is crazy. Let me make sure the audio is fixed. The whole segment is trying to gaslight people into thinking that if you care about the economy, you're privileged. And if you actually care about poor or disenfranchised people, you vote Democrat.
Inflation, it's almost a privilege to care about inflation as your number one issue. The same is true of gas prices or even the idea that it's the economy, stupid.
See, this is why I put Zelina the next level of shit lib, because she said no one cares about inflation, and then I didn't even take it far enough. Fuck it. People don't care. You shouldn't care about gas prices. You shouldn't care about any of that economy. Hear it again.
To care about inflation as your number one issue.
She's like, now I think about it, I'm gonna double down and make it even worse.
The same is true of gas prices or even the idea that it's the economy, stupid.
If you care about gas prices or inflation or just the general economy, you're privileged, according to Zerlina. So leave a comment. Which one is worse? Joy and Reid, Zerlina the queen of all shit lists to me. But that's the only black people you allow on MSNBC. The only ones are the black capitalist class. Zerlina is a millionaire. So of course you don't care about inflation or gas prices. But anyway, CJ, any final stories?
No, I think we can move on to the next one. Let's do Joe Biden was confronted at the White House, because it's just simply playing a video and I got it queued up and we can comment. So how many people? So Nick, let me set this up. So Joe Biden, let me see if I have it ready. I don't. Biden. No, we're not doing that one. So Joe Biden confronted. Now, Nick, how many people have we seen confronted? We've seen Jamal Bowman, we've seen AOC, we've seen Elizabeth Warren, Ayanna Pressley, Barack Obama, and now Joe Biden we're seeing confronted. Go ahead if you're gonna chime in.
Yeah, and we saw Bill Clinton just confronted, even though that was over something else.
Yeah,
and there are a lot of people who
that
are,
one.
and once again, I think I'm glad I see less of it now because it's become more normalized. Where people keep deflecting from, these are LaRoche people. And if you guys are upset that these are LaRoche people doing this, how about we get a left movement that would do this, right? And that's because we will continue to show this because it will need to be done. Being against nuclear war, being against war is not a left or right position, right? I explain the Marxist critique and why we as communists and socialists must impose imperialism. But even if you're not a Marxist or socialist, you should be opposed to war because of the humanitarian cost and the fact that we know that historically for centuries and generations, the ruling class lie about war to expand their own power, not to care about the well-being of people in other countries or the people in the well-being of our country. We know we have enough history to show that where being pro-war is the blanket position.
Right.
No matter where you are at in the Overton window, and no matter how much the CIA tactic users, I'm not saying the CIA, but they definitely use CIA tactics. No matter what they say, oh, this guy got disappeared. This guy got disappeared. If they are against ending wars and imperialism, I would team up with them because I understand that is the human, that is the pro-human approach, the pro-human ideology. So let's end wars, and then we can team up. Then we can fight about everything else later. If you can't agree with me on ending wars and imperialism, we can't even get started. Are we understand? Are we clear here? There are red lines with people I wouldn't fucking touch. Being war is one of them. If you're pro-war, that's a hard line. But if you're anti-war, we can at least start there. Then I can have Glenn Greenwald on. Then I can at least talk to Jackson Hinkle, even though I have a ton of disagreements with them. Because if you're anti-war, at least I can start there. And then we work our way around our disagreements from there. But to me, that's my personal opinion, right? And I know there are a lot of people who are like who have other issues, but to me, war.
I mean, just think about that. Let's play your point of view out. Let's say we were to unite with everybody who's anti-war, regardless of every other position, and we ended war. How does that doesn't that make everybody's life immensely better? I mean, the planet is saved because war is killing the planet, or is a big contributor to killing the planet. How many lives would be saved? The money that's spent on the military, and it's now spent on people, like having free health care, like having better weight. You see what I mean? Like the repercussions from just fixing the one issue of war has so many ripple effects. One of the biggest is affecting the climate emergency. So let's play the video. This is Jose also. He's been posting a lot of these videos. So it's at 24,000 views on this watch. They're confronting Joe Biden.
President Biden! Pope Francis has opened up the Vatican for peace talks. Will you negotiate, sir? Nuclear war must never be fought and cannot be won. Will you negotiate? Sir! Will you negotiate? Russia and China have a no first strike policy. What about America?
That's more like my generation.
About the Democrats were anti-war and anti-colonialism.
All right.
Friends,
how do you not join that?
I'm with you. Hey, anyway.
Just real quick. I'll keep my comments quick.
The war between Ukraine and Russia.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I'll keep my comments quick, but how do you not join that? Now, I understand that we all wired differently. See, I'm not the kind of person that will go to a Joe Biden rally.
Right, that's true.
So the kind of person that will go to a Joe Biden rally is probably the people that are least wired to question authority. But let's think about, and just to show you guys how brainwashed these people are, how can you not join that? Like, if you're there, let's think about it. If you're there, and even if you don't know about it, you hear this guy talking about how you guys are funding war, I'm like, yeah, hey, answer that question. What are you talking about? Hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Is that bullshit? If it's bullshit, let me know. Is it true? Like, so,
Right.
and I'm pointing this out because our propaganda in our media portrays the DPRK in China as being brainwashed to their governments. And I'm not saying that 100% untrue, but I'm saying that everything they accuse their enemies of, we are that and worse. Look at the audience react. I've seen this video already. Watch the audience reaction as the video continue to play. Instead of them saying, oh yeah, answer this guy a question because this is an important issue. They immediately just like
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
When you like your oppressor, like this is just sickening. Let's play it. Yeah, let's play it.
Look. The war between Ukraine and Russia must be brought to an end.
The next couple of years is going to have more to do with what this country looks like 20 years We'll let Joe talk, okay? We'll let talk about
We need peace, not war.
Look, this election isn't a referendum, it's a choice. It's a choice between two fundamentally different visions of America.
No war
I've
with
said from
Russia.
the beginning.
No, there's no
This election isn't a referendum, it's a choice. Nuclear war cannot be won, it cannot be fought. You are playing with all of our lives. You are trying to get us into a confrontation with Russia. You are trying to get us into a with Russia. You're getting into economic. Get out of here.
And we can learn from this.
In a proxy war with Russia, you're.
We can learn from this because we talked about this before, CJ. Look at their strategy. This is such a great strategy. They know they're going to be forced to leave. So instead of just having one guy, they have people spread. I don't think,
exactly.
correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys seen. I haven't seen any other group do this before. Because you guys see people, they all be in like one area. They start protesting together. Then they get scored out. They are smart. They know they're going to be scored out. So they got people spotted in multiple positions. And as one person is getting scored out, the other person
other one starts up. Yeah.
So,
then you got to go over there. Then another person starts up. Yes.
That is so. And I swear to God, if you got problem with the LaRoche people, okay, fine. Let's take this and let's do this as a left movement. Not only on just on ending war, but on everything. Like call out people who don't support Medicare fraud, who people call out the people funding Israel, calling out people funding the Ukraine proxy war, using this tactic. This is a great tactic, having multiple people in the crowd to stop the shit libs. And one thing you notice in that video, I'll pass it to you, CJ. You notice the strategy of the establishment. Now, we all know that there are Democratic Party operatives that are planted at all these events, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are staffers that are just inherently there. I know this because I was part of the Bernie campaign. There are always a lot of staffers around there. And we all know the DNC was like stacked audiences. So remember when we showed the Barack Obama clip? Remember, CJ? And then they started chanting, "We want Obama, Obama, we want Obama." And then in that clip, there was an inorganic chant where they're like, "We want Joe, we want Joe." You saw how it died out. So my theory, once again, I like to pull these theories together, is that whenever these politicians are protested, and I got ample evidence, it's a hypothesis, and I produce my evidence. We've seen with the Barack Obama clip, and just like the Joe Biden clip, whenever these politicians are called out, the crowd start chanting their name. Why do they do that? Because they got DNC insiders. We want Joe. Come on, everyone. We want Joe. We want Joe.
Unorganic. Unorganic.
You see how it almost started, but then it stopped. If you watch the video again, it started a little bit and then it died out because the rest of the crowd wasn't feeling that shit. With Obama, they got the crowd.
No, they had plans. So they have plants there. Their people is there to start a chant. They know. They may not rehearse it, but they know if somebody starts screaming, we need to scream over them.
Yeah,
they know that already. Yeah, they need to drown them out.
So I say this is theory because I don't have hard evidence for that. That's why I only call it theory. But to me, that's clear what is happening because I've seen so many videos where these crowds just start chanting the name of the politician. I'm like, all these crowds are not doing it. That happened once or twice. I'm like, okay, maybe that's crazy. No, it happens so many times. Without a doubt, there are plans that are designed whenever there's people shouting. It's all right. Let's get a chant going, drown them out. So anyway, that's my theory. CJ, anything else? Any other?
I don't think we can do any of the other stories because I got to leave pretty soon. So it wasn't a lot. The Thom Hartman Russiagate story. Russiagate has reappeared in multiple spots. So we can just move that to another time.
We sometimes we gotta move them down because we 2.5 hours in. That's crazy. Anyway, tomorrow's the midterm election. So like literally everyone
our election coverage,
like everyone in their mama stream tomorrow. But we definitely gotta do our RBN
election coverage. We're doing RBN election coverage tomorrow.
And also announcement wise, because I know we get to that part anyway. I'm going to be on George Galloway's show. This is huge. They're the biggest talk show in the UK. George Galloway, the mother of all talk shows. I'm going to enjoy his show on Wednesday to talk about the aftermath of the midterm election. So,
Nick, how did you get the interview though? Did you reach out?
They messaged me on Twitter. The producer messaged me on Twitter, and they said they watch our show. Just like Glenn, when they say watch our show, they want So we may not have the biggest audience, but we definitely got people.
We have the
in
right people
media.
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone in this media space are watching us, guys, because because apparently they said they've been watching us, and so I got an invite. Super happy about that because I like the coverage of the Ukraine. I've been following shows because he one of the few people that got that right. So yeah, so it's a giant platform. It's gonna be good for RBN. I'm gonna be on there right after the midterms too. So yeah.
Oh, what time? What time is it? Your time? What time is it? Your time? You're going on.
It's gonna be 4 p.m. Central Time. While I'm gonna be on there, so I'm probably jump on.
PM Eastern.
We probably can do something around same time, and I'll probably can do it live for like an hour before. I don't know. We see. So.
So it's during the RBN live.
No, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Oh, when you said
Yeah.
after. Okay, so tomorrow we got our RBN live election day coverage. We're gonna be covering
that's gonna be
this
fun.
massacre. We should call it election day, the massacre.
Election day is so stress free for me because everyone's so stressed out. See, because I remember 2020 when Trump lost, I was dancing on the grave of MAGA. That shit was so funny to me because they was so sure they was gonna win. So to me, it literally does not matter if Democrats lose, if Republicans lose. I like to watch.
The fight is the same.
It doesn't matter to me. We supposed to take advantage of divisions and capital and Marxists. We should not be invested in either team winning in the capitalist electoral politics game. This is nothing but a clown show to us. So we use the failures, and this is coming from Lenin. We use the failures of capitalism. We expose them, and you expose them through many ways. Humor is a great way to do this. Lenin was famous for being like a sarcastic comedian. Like he was very much an asshole. But we got to be able to laugh at the capitalists while exposing the hypocrisy and the division in capital. That way, we can maximize the ability to expose our system and get people on our Marxist movement. That's what we're supposed to do. So no matter what happens in this election, that shit is gonna be funny to me. The fact that you guys are in a close election with fucking Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz. I swear to God, I'm gonna get banned on Twitter if Dr. Oz beats John Fetterman, if Herschel Walker beats Javier Warnock, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get banned because people are gonna be pissed. How can you possibly be in a close race with those people? So this week gonna be a good week. We got a lot of great shows. I'm gonna be on the mother of all talk shows with George Galloway on Wednesday, and I love that we're doing it right after the midterms because they said they want a American perspective and they like our coverage. So I already know they invite me on. They want to hear.
You the voice of America. You the one. They gonna think, oh, America got their shit straight after hearing you. They just don't know.
So they probably talk to a lot of people, but I'm definitely gonna give them the black radical position, and at least this is why George Galloway good because he got a lot of different voices. Watch his show, so I definitely appreciate the invite. It's a big one, so we already got international audience, so it'd be good to have. He got very international audience as well, but super big in the UK, super giant. So
man, Herschel Walker. So that was another story. So there was two stories we weren't able to get to because we did want to cover some of the numbers of the midterms. Democrats are getting massacred. Polls are coming out, but they're still out trying to sell fear, sell democracy, and it's hard.
Yeah, so tomorrow
ain't buying it.
Tomorrow is gonna be so fun because I have so many thoughts on the Herschel Walker thing, and then the Fetterman. I haven't talked about it because it's not worth the time, but tomorrow is the midterm, so we're gonna have fun. Tomorrow gonna be a fun.
I do want to start, and I mean everybody doesn't have to start. I do want to start a little bit early because I feel like it's gonna more to talk about. So maybe we'll start an hour early just to give everybody a heads up. Maybe I'll start, or maybe if you're free,
I'll jump in whenever. I'll jump in
whenever everybody's free. Just to add an extra hour to our stream tomorrow because it is midterms. And then we can cover a little bit about what's happening before we get into the big discussion. All right, so that's going to be it. This is the outro video. Anything else, Nick, before we take off here?
That's all I have. Also, tomorrow to be good because we can get to we can take a lot of questions in chat. It can be a really fun, chill live stream tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in. And once again, we're getting a lot of new support, and that's only because you guys are sharing. The algorithm is not our friend. Like people keep telling us that they were being unsubscribed from us, and that fucking been keeping me up at night. Like people have been unsubscribed for our channel, so the only reason we're able to grow because you guys are sharing. So I appreciate that. Let's keep this movement going. But thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, here is the outro video. Make sure you turn in tomorrow for our election day or midterm election day coverage. It's going to start at roughly 3 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you check us out for that. It's going to be like any other coverage. We're not cheering red or blue. We're just calling balls and strikes. So here is our outro video for today.
Kamali said that about underprivilege and overprivilege, and that people of color are underprivileged. Underprivileged literally means that we live in a deeply unfair cultural system. And white supremacy, the white supremacist system that we are all living in, also diminishes white crime. And with that, I mean white crime that is exactly similar as black crime. For example, sociological and social psychological research has shown that black people get higher prison sentences for the same crimes. And now an interesting thing happens, because we also have colorism, that the darker the skin of the black person, the higher the prison sentence. Okay, so you even see that in the old school colorist kind of direction. And another thing this unfair system does when we talk about white crime versus black crime, for example, is that a white supremacist system projects its own crimes on its victims. For example, Muslims are barbaric, Muslims are terrorists, while the West is bombing the Middle East into the Stone Age. Blacks are considered violent or even sexual violent, while sexual oppression is one of the most crucial aspects of colonialism and slavery. Okay. Another thing you see now with China, for example, is that Chinese are engaging in genocide, or Chinese are anti-Muslim, while millions of Muslims have been killed by the US. Okay, so it's that kind of almost, in some scholars would call that white innocence, is that kind of white supremacist system creates an innocence, such an innocence in the mind of people that white people are not as guilty as people of color, that you just see a completely asymmetrical kind of system when it comes to crimes.
But very quickly to that point as well, and you see this just because I want to, make sure that we also just mentioned, indigenous folks who have been, had genocides committed against them and been ravaged by, and destroyed by white supremacy in this country right here. They were called savages. At the same time, Howard Zinn's People's History of America describes from the own notes of Bartholomew de las Casas, who in Christopher Columbus himself, the vicious, brutal acts that they committed against those indigenous people.
Rang the school with orders to admit only the white students. It shocked the country. State troops were now being used to prevent enforcement of federal law. At the center of the crisis were these 9 teenagers, selected by the school board because of their excellent grades. The first day, 8 of the 9 went to school together, accompanied by their parents and ministers. They expected some harassment, but no real trouble.
You could cut it with a knife, the tension outside the school with these people who had come in from other parts of the state, other states. There were license plates from all other states that were there, people who had come in and were outside our school.
The 8 children and the adults with them were turned away by the National Guard. The 9th student, Elizabeth Eckford, had missed the call to gather with the others before school. Elizabeth Eckford walked alone and met a mob.
Can you tell me your name, please? Are you going to go to school here at Central High? You don't care to say anything, is that right? This girl here was the first Negro apparently of high school age to show up at Central High School the day that the federal court ordered it integrated. She was followed in front of the school by an angry crowd, many of them shouting epithets at her.
Well, it has to be the most frightening thing. I mean, because she had a crowd